Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand final series for the AVGL Summer Series featuring the Collegiate Valorant Conference. My name is Phil, also joined here by Infernosis, and we still got the drip. Don't get us wrong. It may have been only for last night, but we decided to bring it double trouble indeed. And Scott, how you doing today, man?
Great, I can fall asleep and you guys can't even see my eyes right here. So honestly, if the game gets a little boring, say these two Texan sides don't really start slugging it out enough, and then I can take a quick power nap and my producer won't be able to yell at me. Of course, you'll be yelling at me because it'll be a lot of dead air and a lot of really quiet things. But yeah, we'll get beyond that. But the
I mean, I
match of
might
the
take a nap
day,
too.
yeah, man, we can get away with a
I'm
couple of
quite tired.
things. I'll just play some like pre-recorded audio of me screaming, and then they'll think that it's like actually going on, right? So that'll be
Hey, you've
fine.
got your XLR. Don't you have some funny things on there?
I got that. That's all I got. But
Okay,
the two
fair
teams
enough.
we got here for you guys today is Texas A&M versus the University of Texas. Lone Star State coming out here. They're facing off. This is a battle for Texas at this point in time here in this grand final. Really excited to see how this one's going to go in a best of three. John, what maps are we playing here?
So we've got a return of a couple maps that we got to commentate over last night, but in a slightly different order. We've got Haven with Texas A&M defending on the first half, then Ascent, which will have the University of Texas, also known as Longhorn Gaming, on their defensive half on that first, and then Breeze. Shockingly, it actually did not get pushed to the wayside. We actually get to see it in play if we go to a third map, and if that is the case, then Texas A&M, I believe, are defending first on that one. So Night, we might need to bring up the blitz.gg for those callouts because that'll be my first time ever casting Breeze, but I think that'll still be fun nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it'll be my first time as well casting Breeze. Hopefully we get to see KO as well. I'm pretty sure he's unlocked.
Oh
That's what
my
you
god,
told me.
yeah,
If that's
I
true, then
hope
I
so.
absolutely want to see KO. I don't care what map it is. Please. There's got to be some players out here that have played CS:GO before, and KO is so reminiscent of some of the older style CS:GO utility consumption of being able to toss the flashes, actually having them bounce, right? I mean, come on, that's such a fun utility. I'm really regretting not playing the game enough to unlock him, and it would take 6 months for me to unlock him at this point in time, but we'll figure it out. Obviously, now Texas A&M, your defenders here on this left side is what our screen currently shows us. We can already see a couple of these agents already being locked in. Jorks on the Cypher, something we have not seen from them before. I believe we saw them on Killjoy previously. That's going to be an interesting switch up, but the one and only Tio for Texas A&M back on the Sova. Tio was an absolute powerhouse just yesterday, carried the team in kills and utility. It was absolutely insurmountable facing off against NYU.
I believe that map was a basically complete blowout favoring Texas A&M last night. It was the first map of Ascent that was actually quite neck and neck with. No, I might have actually no, I was correct in that. All right, almost had a little bit of brain fart there. But yeah, Haven was actually a really exciting map to go over. But the University of Texas might actually be playing this a whole lot differently. They still have a somewhat similar lineup, like you mentioned, Scott. And I wonder, again, what the first site is going to be in terms of what will get attacked first. Normally, it tends to be that C objective room or the B bomb site on those first couple of pistol rounds. I think that's almost a given for the most part. But every now and again, you'll see an A rush. And it is a lot more difficult on the pistol round, but I think it's still doable nonetheless. And the way that the University of Texas is currently stacked up, they actually might try that, to be honest, because they're all just waiting near A lobby.
It's so rare to see an A push. It's going to be interesting to see if they eventually do commit to this. They're going to go ahead and drop Spike out in Cubby, buy short boxes by Hay, and be ready to actually make the rotation. No, picking it back up. Interesting. They're going to toss it short over by Window. They're going to be able to wait for this opportunity. They haven't fully committed to A just yet. They're teasing it at this point in time. But the University of Texas, they're really opting to spread themselves thin, trying to think about where they can test the waters to really get themselves in advantageous position. One player, now two, looking to tease through garage doors. Two players are actually in the mid courtyard themselves, looking to maybe step towards B. But of course, you need your one player in the background waiting with the spike. That's exactly what they're doing. Maybe coming up to help AO. Trying to have a positional advantage. They haven't found anyone in the B site, John, but there's two players over by the splits. One on A link and one on C link. Time will have to tell whether or not these frags actually drop in their favor.
Interesting here. Texas A&M, they're kind of backing up a little bit. They're forcing University of Texas in towards the objective room. I think they're just waiting for the rest of their team to actually stack up so it can be a much more coordinated retake here, which Texas A&M are brilliant at those retakes, but so far they will not be finding that first kill. It's AO Pierre in the back of B who picks up the first two. Tio gets that trade, but you're still at that man deficit as you try to get that diffuser down. Astra Smoke will actually block off the sightline here, which could allow for it, but eventually it dissipates as Damn tries to throw out another one, but so far cannot. And there goes out the ability in the hands of Killjoy as well, wasting even more time now. But Tio with 3. This could be a great defuse here, but they have to stick it now as they are very short on time. Poi wraps it up onto Tio. He's on just 9 health, and there's basically no time left, but there are no more players left either as Kimchi gets the last one. A close call, but the University of Texas held their own and ended up winning out the first pistol round.
Thankfully, we can take a look at what we saw in that round, and it really gives us an idea of what we are to be expecting. One thing we noticed last night for both Texas A&M and NYU is they would take that B site and they would all run back to courtyard and fight from there. We saw Pierre sitting behind Gong in such a nice position to find 2. Eventually did get refragged back by Tio, who went on a rampage to find 3. But it was still something that we have not seen from this Texas A&M side, and I love to see this from the University of Texas. We'll have to see how it's going to pan out for them now as they full buy out these Spectres and armor. Pierre already finding the first pick onto aggro. Gonna go ahead and eat up some of these souls on the ground in an attempt to heal themselves. Jork's in a position to push, but doesn't get the shots off, and Pierre finds the refract instead. And it's a 2v5, John. Texas A&M are floundering, not sure what to do.
Perfect entries again by AO Pierre, and even having some help from the rest of his team, getting that spike down now in the 5-on-1 as Dill falls down as well, all in the hands of Dam, and he just gets caught on the rotation by Poi. A flawless second round victory for the University of Texas. They may have had that better weaponry, but also just better coordination, and again, their duelists just doing a great job of starting off the round strong. It's been a great first 2 rounds, but on this third one, having to go up against rifles all across the board on the side of Texas A&M, it might be a little bit more difficult this time around.
Yeah, and a big apologies. Both these teams being Texas makes it very difficult sometimes for us to say the right thing. So if we say the wrong thing, big apologies. We'll make sure to correct ourselves when it comes.
Just only make fun of me.
Yeah, just only make fun of John.
Yeah.
My emotional state cannot handle being made fun of more than 3 times in a day. And yeah, John already did that earlier today and said I looked terrible when I woke up. So things will have to work out. First pick drops down for the University of Texas. Kimchi finds the first. Now it's going to be able to find a second. Pierre tags out Tio, the best fragger on this Texas A&M roster, and a 5v3 ensues, but this spike is planted and in control on this A site.
Post-plant situation already here. The University of Texas, again, starting off strong, and I think they'll end off this round strong again, but they still got to go up against a handful of rifles, but having those first 2 entries, they've picked up a couple of their own. That Vandal doing wonders for AO Pierre as he's still not missing his shots, and yep, it was kind of anticipated in the back of my mind that Texas A&M might just go and save their last 2 rifles here. It's basically an unwinnable round at this point, and now they can just kind of wait here, maybe try to pick up a frag here and there, but they're on the exact opposite side of the map. So I highly doubt that will happen, but as time continues to tick onward, everyone's just retreating away from the site here. Spike bound to abrupt in just a couple of seconds, and that will guarantee a 3rd round win for University of Texas.
We can tell just how aggressive the University of Texas is going to play by how quickly and how aggressively they were attempting to hunt down. And the only 2 players I saw really hunting for that Texas squad was Lightning McQueen rushing towards C, actually got close, looked and saw the player in Cubby, but it was not able to take a shot as the round did end, and it jumped us into here round 4. So we do know that the University of Texas wants to be aggressive, and that was something that we saw NYU just last night was not so keen on doing. So this is a completely new team that Texas A&M is going to face, not just in the terms of new players and a new university, I guess, but also in terms of the fact that they're going to have a completely different play style. It's showing right here. Pierre finds 2, completely decimating Texas A&M's attempted defense on this B site. Tio's trapped inside sight, and Lightning McQueen will be felled, but Pierre finds their 3rd and a nice headshot kill back to Tio. Jork steps out, finds Poe and Kimchi, and now a bad situation as they got to make the flank around. Misses the first shots, but does not miss the last. Mr. Catfish taken out as Jorks cleans out for the 3K.
Pierre in this position has to find the ace clutch and doesn't have Spike in his back pocket. He lights up Dam though, forcing him to possibly reposition, and here comes the Empress ability. This will allow for Pierre to possibly find frags a whole lot easier now, especially since both Jorks and Dam are on incredibly low HP in this position. Still plenty of time to get that Spike as well, and there isn't really much that they can do except play keep away, and Jorks with 4 denies the ace clutch and finally gives his team of Texas A&M their first round win. But my God, I want to continue talking about the University of Texas because Pierre on this duelist role has been finding so many entries. He's been doing a terrific job, and that was really their only underperforming round, to be honest, Scott. But even then, he was still finding entries.
Finding entries and doing a very nice job of that. Jorks was a player we saw a little bit of the matches last night, but didn't see enough of, in my opinion. And finally, Jorks is coming out and finding picks, which is interesting because you don't want to let your Cypher be that player. That's not their role. Their role is utility, it's information, it's a passive position, and that's not what we're seeing. And it's the same way with Tio, though. I mean, Sovas aren't really this hyper-aggression Russian. They're not the duelist. They aren't the person that's supposed to be up in your face finding those shots. But the issue is that Texas A&M's duelists are losing at the very beginning. Dill takes and loses their life first, like we've seen already. Tio does find a refrag back into Pierre. That's going to remove University of Texas' best player. But Kimchi finds 2 into Jorks, and damn, making a third right back to Tio. 1 player left standing for the Texas A&M roster. It's Aggro, and they're trapped on the other side of the map all the way on A sides.
And I think the best play for Aggro here, just save the operator. It's a very expensive weapon, and it's almost impossible to try and recover from this position, even with one of the best guns in the game, because you can just get peeked on by 2 players the exact same time. Yeah, you may get 1, but you're not going to get them all in that position. So just saving here up towards heaven is probably the best idea for Aggro. But oh my God, when Pierre got shut down, I was thinking in my head, wow, Texas A&M have a great chance of holding this down because that's been University of Texas' best fragger. But then the Omen just steps up massively and was able to give his team a chance to get that plant down. And now they're just rushing onto Aggro. If they secure that frag on the operator player of Aggro, that would be massive, but he's just playing Ring Around the Rosie with his opponent, so he'll be alive once it hits 000 after that spike has exploded, and the operator will remain in the hands of Texas A&M.
Great escapability we saw right there, John. Aggro's ability to be able to play Ring Around the Rosie that well and escape.
Yeah.
Knew exactly where they needed to step without being fragged. If we had seen any of the University of Texas go up a long instead of rushing through a short like we saw, then we probably could have seen them getting picked off just as they turned around that corner, because they didn't attempt to step through garden. They knew that was the longer line of sight, so they needed to cut themselves short. It worked out because University of Texas didn't take that route. Phenomenal read there by Aggro, but now Dill's going to be sitting very close now with the judge, waiting for an opportunity to tag one out. Just goes for it, but Pierre hits enough shots and Dill misses theirs. A very nice early pick for Pierre. They're able to heal it all back as well. A very unfortunate position for Dill as they dealt the damage, but it just doesn't stay.
Great attempt, though, don't get me wrong, but sometimes that judge can put you in a really awkward position, especially against one of the best fraggers on the side of University of Texas currently. But once we get towards that last minute of the round here, it still seems like a really good position for the University of Texas as they slowly creep their way from middle into that B bomb site. And there's only Dam trying to cover it currently. He's waiting on the rest of his teammates to back him up, and so far there's no one here to help him out. Lightning McQueen, a great wallbang headshot, and AO Pierre follows suit onto Tio, a 4 versus 2 soon to be post plant as Kimchi is sticking it down. Aggro having to run away here. He misses that vital shot, forcing Jorks basically in that 1 versus 1 and 1v4 technically, and it'll be a flawless round for the University of Texas. Just again, another quick cleanup, and they are just looking fantastic.
Pierre is fulfilling that duelist role better than I've seen so many players do. 12 and 3 with 1 assist. He's cleaning up every kill that he's setting up for themselves, and it's going spectacular. And I think that's just has to play with how good Reyna can be. You find a first pick, and then you're just going to overheal yourself, keep yourself up. The Empress as well coming up constantly. The more frags you get, it is just a spectacular performance. And the Texas A&M just doesn't know how to face off against this. This unbridled aggression we're seeing from UT is just something they can't contend with. You saw how how Lightning McQueen shot through the back of Gong and found a kill. Immensely important for their push, but we also saw him rush down aggro on the A site, find the kill, and then didn't even pick up the operator. Just wasted the weapon. They don't need it. They want to play with rifles, and that's all they want. Pierre steps up, finds Dam. The shorty did hurt them, but once again, Reyna overheals it back, and there is absolutely no chance for them to lose that engagement in that close range situation.
And from what I thought it was going to be a B take, but no, a full rotation has come through by University of Texas to get into that A bomb site. Lightning McQueen, great coverage, watching down through B, picks up one. Poi follows suit, and Mr. Catfish gets one onto Dill as well. It's just a sea of red at this point. Another 1-on-5 situation post plant for Jorks. We've seen him get that quadra kill before, but not an ace clutch in the post plant with only a sheriff. And yup, that was highly anticipated. Lightning McQueen finishes off the last player for Texas A&M, and that will give the 6th round win here for the University of Texas, and their economy now looking better after that past loss. Their round count still isn't looking too sharp, only having that one fluke round so far. It's definitely been very worrisome to say the least, Scott, but at least they've got plenty of ultimates. They've got Hunter's Fury. They've got Neural Theft, tons of intel gathering on their side, and it appears that Aggro and Dam are only 1 point away, and Dill has that run it back. That can be a great initiating ultimate ability as well, so definitely a lot of potential here for Texas A&M to secure their 2nd round here on the board, especially with a great entry like that by Aggro.
Yeah, finding the first pick is extremely important, but you need to see an all-around increase in culpability when it comes to defending. You can't have the first player get picked, and then the rest of you just fall apart like a house of cards. You can't let yourself get shattered like that. You have to be a little bit more swift with it, and they're just continuously getting wallbanged. Aggro, step away from that wall. Get out of C-Link. Yes, I know that's the position your team wants you to play in. That's where you were assigned, but there is a time to adapt the strategy and move away from that situation. And that was there. Stop getting tagged, sit a little bit closer, and play a different position. Lightning McQueen steps up, ka-chows right into the head of Dam, and B site will now be completely taken. We've seen them rotate from B over to A before, but I think this time around they're going to plant it in a non-original default position, but it's just a bait. 2 sitting behind Gong. Dill finds one with a run it back, removed back by Poi, but now Dill knows their location. Kimchi's going to go ahead and put the bomb down in default spot. Will get it off, but Tio finds 2 into Poi and Kimchi. A 4v1. It's just Catfish remaining on this University of Texas roster, and they're going to be able to get a good chance to completely get this spike and get the defuse off.
Oh, and Jork's attempting it here, only halfway through, and Dill's got perfect coverage. Texas A&M having plenty of time to defuse. I think they're just fighting over who would mark it off that the most, and I would assume be Dill. He just used his ultimate there in that last round, and a perfect way to use it as well, opening up a ton of space for the rest of his team, allowing for Tio to pop off as well, but they weren't only strong in the beginning, or pardon, at the end part of that round. They are also strong in the beginning, might I add, because Aggro found that initiating pick with the operator at hand. You should never peek that operator. 90% of the time, you're bound to lose that fight just because it can shoot you once in the chest or even higher, and you're going to die. It's almost guaranteed at that point. And honestly, much better performance now by Texas A&M, but it's going to take a lot more than just a couple of fluke rounds here and there for them to actually have a better chance up against the University of Texas.
They're going to need that chance, and they're going to need absolutely everything for it. Texas A&M, they've looked very lackluster in this performance so far. They did surmount a massive comeback in Map 1 yesterday on Ascent, and that was exactly what propelled them to actually win that map, but it required them on the attack to do so. They are looking as poor as they did on the defense as they did on the Ascent game against NYU. You cannot have that. C push coming up, C long position. Mr. Catfish finds Tio. Dale is able to find Poi, but refragged back by Pierre. Aggro gets one with the Blade Storm into Pierre's forehead. A bit of an avenging position as they find 2. Kimchi with a sick flick, finding Aggro as they attempted to updraft up behind C boxes, but it's not going to go. 2 players v 2 players. Texas A&M have to defend this position as both of them are on this defender-sided spawn next to C-Link, ready to push out into the C site. But no one on the University of Texas is giving them anything for free. Rotation does come through. Looks to be they're trying to make a rotate over through connector, through garage. One player, Dam, looking for the spot, sees the legs of Lightning McQueen, but they get tagged first. Bad position as Dam attempts to assist his teammate, but it's going to have to help himself first in a bad spot. John, this looks like a very dangerous position where the teams are trying to outplay one another.
Yeah, this could really go either way. There's great coverage by the University of Texas, but slowly and surely, Jorks is approaching the objective room, gets eradicated by Lightning McQueen, and he picks up 2 to wrap it off. Ka-chow for the Sova player, gets his team their 7th round, and again, University of Texas just overwhelming the last 2 players for Texas A&M, but it was definitely a lot closer than most of these rounds where we've seen flawless on the board for University of Texas, and I think the only thing we have not seen is either a thrifty round or a team ace, but overall, University of Texas, again, just doing a much better job. They're a lot more consistent than Texas A&M currently, but we've still seen some stellar performances by a couple of players here and there, especially Tio and Jorks.
You know the saying, rubbing is racing, and there's nothing more dirty in this play like rubbing during a racing match than Kimchi's nice flick we saw to remove aggro. That aggro Blade Storm was so effective finding 2 that you needed to shut it down, and already aggro out for the count. Dill thankfully finds a pick for Texas A&M as the headshots off Mr. Catfish as they attempt to push up from that C. Long push, but it's not going to happen. Damn, high noon somewhere as they tag the head of Lightning McQueen with the Sheriff. Texans know it best. They know exactly what to do in this position, but Pierre now coming up. C. Long has cleared Cubby. 1 player behind short box here right next to Connector, but they have to be very wary. Pierre's clearing sight, knows one, sees it, but they weren't looking that way. Poi finds the kill, however, but Pierre now clears out that defender Link, forcing them to take that step back with some extra assistance from that Nebula.
Oh, but here comes Hunter Fury, but the lack of information, he's just blind firing. Everything being underutilized here by Tio because he has no recon bolt or owl drone to use in that position, allowing the spike to come down with no damage being done. And now an awkward position here for Dam. Here Empress in the background. Dam gets 1, but not another as Kimchi's there with a trade. Now back in an even man position. Paranoia comes in through, but Jorks lands a deadly shot all up to Pierre here, and he gets uploaded by that neural theft. The information is there completely, but Pierre is still not missing. He dismisses away, changes his location, tries to find the next one, and he does! Pierre, a 3K clutch, an 8th round win for his team, and University of Texas are simply winning more.
They're walking away to a degree, but Pierre, 17 freaking frags at this point in time. I wish I would use more colorful language, but I don't like to do that on a cast. Spectacular. PP, what the is going on here? I mean, what can you say here? Pierre, it looks phenomenal. The entire team for right now for University of Texas looks spectacular. Whether it's Kimchi's amazing flick right there or any of Pierre's shots, or they're just winning engagements, their utility usage as Reyna is spectacular. Their ability to find picks and win engagements is phenomenal. And the University of Texas is doing nothing but dubbing on Texas A&M because they're just outplaying them. Catfish finds the first pick to aggro. Kimchi not far behind by fragging back Tio. A 5v3 in effect as Texas A&M are still floundering. Thankfully, Dam does find one into Pierre, shuts down the monster on this University of Texas side, but Catfish is low, and Dam is nearby, will be saved by the Nebula of his team to actually allow for Dill to lose the eyesight to take out Catfish, but it might be too little too late, because Texas A&M are still a man down, and University of Texas has not dedicated to a site yet.
And they've got all the time in the world to pick and choose as to where they want to approach from. Currently, they're lurking around up and towards Garage, so I'm anticipating a C site take, and currently no one's there. The recon bolt will confirm that for University of Texas as they try to work their way up and forward. There goes the lockdown coming in through. It cannot be shot just yet, but Dam gets that frag on a Catfish, trying to destroy the ultimate ability, but they can just not land out those shots, allowing for the site to be free and ripe for the taking on the side of the attacking squad. They can get that spike planted now in the 3-on-3 position, and they've got the health advantage as well. This is just a pristine condition here, but that run it back could open up some space, but the paranoia completely blinds him out. Poi gets that frag on the run it back. It's still that 3-on-3, but currently most of their vision is impaired by the Omen smoke, but they just charge right through it as it dissipates. Lightning and McQueen and Poi pick up frags of their own respectively, leaving Jorks in the 1-on-2 as he wraps up one on towards Poi, but still has a lot of work to do here, but not much time at the exact same instance here. Gets another, but can't wrap it up on a Kimchi. He clutches the 1v1. A 9th round to be won here, and only another one left before we go into that second half. And I got to agree, that was a great shot, as no one, for the most part, on the side of the University of Texas are missing at all.
Yeah, they look spectacular. Let's just talk about where we're seeing team coordination and precision right now for University of Texas. Notice that when you see Lightning McQueen peek out from behind double boxes, you see Poi do the exact same thing a moment later. So you can see they know that Poi is there behind that box, but they see Lightning McQueen's shoulders first, so they both turn, and then boom, right there, Poi reaps their ugly head, or maybe beautiful head. I don't know what Poi looks like, but turns their head around the corner and finds the shot, completely cleaning up what Lightning McQueen couldn't do in their first peak. It is just a spectacular performance. There are no peaks made by the University of Texas that don't have a player at least right behind or ready to be there on a crossfire. Lightning McQueen finds the second pick. It was Pierre who found the first. Mr. Catfish finally finds yet another one, bringing them to 5, but Pierre finds another on top of it, bringing them up probably to 50 at this point. Damn's out for the count, and it's just Tio. This is the last round in the half, and it may be another flawless one for this University of Texas roster.
Yeah, although I really love Tio because he's good at shooting people down, I don't think he's going to win this 1v5. Yeah, no, not even wanting compensation. Poi just gets the last kill, a mercy killing to call it bluntly, and a 10-2 split for University of Texas as they now go on the defensive side. So I want to see how well Texas A&M can do on their attacking half, because I remember from last night, they were a very dominating team. They were able to approach upon those bomb sites pretty effectively on this map and the one before that of Ascent. And those are the two maps that we're going to for number 1 and 2. So hopefully they can step it up a whole lot. And they were at a 7 to 8 round deficit last time around too. So we might just see a little bit of deja vu if any of you in chat ended up picking up on what we were commentating over the other night. But if we don't see the University of Texas stop their reign of terror up against the other Texan team, it might just come to a swift 13 round victory in the next only 3, to be honest. It's very possible.
It absolutely is, and while the saying is everything's bigger in Texas, it seems to be a little bit bigger for the University of Texas. Maybe Texas A&M just aren't able to come over these insurmountable odds. They're now rushing through. 3 went through doors in the garage. 1 denied by Kimchi, but Dill will get the refrag back with the frenzy. Lightning McQueen does find one, but onto Dill, but Tio's there with the ghost to refrag it back. A 3v3. Pierre is on the defense, ready to step up and find a pick. Does have Devour and Dismiss ready, but Aggro's there with the frenzy to find the pick, a very important one. And Poi is shooting a long shot, not going for Tio, instead went for Aggro and does find the kill. And it's not going to matter for long because Tio's there to find Catfish. Poi, nice shot to Dam, 1v1. Oh, in the middle of a jump and dashes away. Poi, what the heck was that?
Oh, just perfect mechanical skill by Poi, catching off Sova so hard, and the right click, just precision aim with that classic. Oh man, Texas A&M, you had such a great start in that post plant, but no one denying the flank when it mattered most. Guaranteed University of Texas their first round win on the second pistol round. Oh man, that's got to sting. But at least since Texas A&M had a really strong start and had a little bit of that spike getting planted down, they can still buy SMGs to counteract the University of Texas full buy. So it'll still be a pretty 50-50 round between the two, but a lot is on the line to see who can win this next round, Scott.
Yeah, everything really has to come to fruition here. University of Texas winning, that leaves them to a good chance. But a big problem early on as Texas A&M steps up with SMGs. They knew they had to, and it's already working out for them. They found 2 picks, rushed the A site, and found success. One of them was on A long, the other one was actually in corner pocket of A site, and they're actually managing to bring themselves ahead. Catfish steps up, denied by George. 2 drop at the same time, but Lightning McQueen finds 3. George, Aggro, and Tio say goodnight, but Dill's there to refrag. Kimchi does find Dam, but we're back to yet another 1v1. Dill brings out the pistol, trying to pog on him, but gets pogged in return, and Kimchi will once again dub on the Texas A&M roster. We're heading to match points.
Oh, that was definitely not the play, Texas A&M. I get it, the style points could have been there just to throw some disrespect on your possible homie from across the way, but no, don't do that in the 1v1. I understand, but also I'm kind of upset about that. Maybe he ran out of ammo though in his Spectre. That could have been it too as well. I honestly have no idea, but just missing those shots as well. He was 1 shot away from death. I feel like that classic could have wrapped him up, but just missing those vital shots as well really sealed the deal. And Now you have to run with sheriffs and specters, not even getting rifles because you didn't commit to a full save the round prior, and things are just looking devastating for your team. Rush comes in through by aggro, gets one, but luckily Lightning McQueen is there. He's denying it so well. Kimchi with the shorty kill on top of it. A 2 versus 4. Texas A&M will attempt to get that diffuser down, but Kimchi is guarding it perfectly, and McQueen follows suit. A buddy ace to wrap it up. It'll be 13-2 on map number 1. I feel like we just started this broadcast, Scott, but we're already done with map number 1.
We literally did. It's been 30 minutes, John. 30 minutes. A 26-minute, 22-second game. The broadcast has been on for 30 minutes exactly. 31 exactly as of now. It's a 26-and-a-half-minute game. Texas, the University of Texas, absolutely walked on top, or should I say most specifically Pierre is what drove the attacking force, but the defense was Kimchi and Lightning McQueen. They completely walked on top of Texas A&M and said, you guys stay where you are, we're going to continue to take this one away, and that's exactly what we saw happen. Pierre had 8 first bloods, might I add. 8 first bloods in that.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It is by far one of the best rounds, one of the best matches of Valorant I've seen. They didn't want to peek any angles that didn't give them a crossfire advantage. They didn't want to take any pushes that would put them at a disadvantage without finding a pick first. And they did all of that with Pierre's exceptional gun skill with those first bloods, winning the initial engagements. And even when Pierre would lose that, whenever those would rarely ever occur by miraculous chance for Texas A&M, there was another player there to immediately refrag, and that still gave them the confidence, the energy to push through that site and take control to get the plants.
Just overall, a much better performance for the University of Texas. Their coordination was there. Their gun skill was there. I get it. There's a lot of strategy that goes into playing the game of Valorant, especially to position yourself to get those gunfights most of the time, but when you're Pierre just rushing into the opponents and just not missing your shots, there isn't really much you can do except try to throw smokes early on to cover some really long sight lines, because the C bomb site was pushed a lot on the map of Haven, and it was most of the time just Pierre just rushing down long and like, all right, guys, I'm going to get a frag. Just hold my beer real quick. And he did not lie, and he did not miss either picking up those frags. But hopefully we see some better performances by Texas A&M, because that was just a slaughterhouse. They got put up in the butcher shop, to be honest, and I know that Texas A&M can do a whole lot better, especially on the map of Ascent, which is what we're going to after this break. So don't go anywhere for some more action for the Collegiate Valorant Conference.
I like how we're still here, just chilling. He lost in a... We're good. We're not good. Unfortunately, he's lost in it. John, have you ever been to Texas?
I haven't, but it looks like fun. Like a lot of fun.
I went to Texas. I was outside of Texas, and then we wanted to go see a movie.
I don't know if we're live or not.
And I'm telling my story. Let me tell my story.
No, I want to listen, though. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Texas because we wanted to go see a movie. So we went to a movie theater in Texas. We drove into Texas, 45 minutes to go to a theater. And then we went to Golden Corral afterwards. And that was probably one of the largest theaters and one of the largest Golden Corrals I've ever been to. So yes, everything does seem to be bigger in Texas. So it was a very interesting situation. My dad grew up in Texas. That's why he loves the soda Big Red. That was a big thing in Texas, apparently. I don't know if it still is, considering Coke has just dominated everything. But Big Red was a big thing for a very long time, just like bubble gum. My grandpa lived in Texas for a very long time. Before moving to Florida, as old people do. But yeah, I've been to Texas once. It was a good time there. We hung out there for a couple hours after watching the movie. I don't remember what movie it was. It was like, I was younger. It was like 12. So, but Texas is not that bad. But just to say, you'll probably never ever go to Texas, John, because you just live way too far up north. So you'll never truly understand what it is to live in the Southern culture. And apparently that Southern culture is absolutely dominating your cohorts, in Valorant. I mean, come on.
I feel like I wouldn't say we're back at the Alamo because that was kind of a hard and long fight that could have went really either way. That was just kind of a bloodbath. I mean, the Alamo was still a bloodbath, but it was definitely not so much of a one-sided affair. So hopefully we get more of an Alamo-esque kind of fight on map number 2, and still waiting our producer to get back, of course. Unfortunately, his internet cut out. Normally that's my problem, hence why I'm like referring to it, because my internet just hates my guts for the most part, especially when I'm doing a Valorant cast. It's okay on Rainbow Six, but for some odd reason, every time it hears me utter out the words Valorant, it's like, all right, you're done. You're not casting.
It really does. It really does.
Remember NECC when we were learning how to do it every
that,
single day? Every single day, dude. Well, I know. We cast for the same people, and we're also still a duo pretty much anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, so. I mean, literally, in all accounts, your internet completely just loses itself every time Valorant is brought up. And I think it's just because you're on a one PC setup or like a one monitor setup, maybe.
One monitor,
right? So, like, the thought process
yeah.
for a while was that you would open a Valorant to watch it live, and it would just like your internet would die because of it. But no, we're using a completely different production system right now. Like, we don't even have Valorant open. We have a live observer here doing things for us. Thank goodness, because I don't have to observe in Valorant. I've had to observe in Overwatch because I cast that as well, and that stinks because I just hold my camera way up high and just have an overhead view and pretend I know what I'm doing. So I'm yelling about something happening way over here, and then all the actions broadcast is over here. So it's completely unrelated. But I sound impressive because I'm like talking about information that not even the chat can see, right? It's like, oh, it sounds cool. But then when I actually watched Observer live, the same thing the players are saying, I sound terrible and just awful. But, you know, everything has its excuse. There's always an excuse for everything to be had. But, you know, just be thankful, John, that you don't cast Overwatch, right? I mean, maybe you should learn before Overwatch 2 comes out, which is going to take another
honestly,
7 years.
I've given it some thought. I've honestly given it some thought because I think a 5-on-5 would actually make the game played a lot differently.
You're wrong.
Really,
okay, play differently. Yeah, you're right. Play differently, you're right. Play better, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, Overwatch just sometimes is not a fun game to play, hence why I haven't played it in years, to be honest. It looks fun, but when they keep nerfing your main, it's just super annoying. Like, I'm a Roadhog main. Back then, you used to garner a lot of hate being a Roadhog main, but, like, I picked him up, like, after he was really broken, and he no longer was, so it was okay. But then they just started buffing Reaper and nerfing Roadhog, and it's just like, yeah, I can still counter him, but it's really difficult, especially when you suck at the game, like this guy right here. So,
yeah,
definitely gave me a lot of reasons to not like it. The dive meta was interesting back in Season 5. I mean, it was fun because I didn't mind playing Winston. I'm horrible at D.Va, so it was mostly just me playing Winston a lot, but I've definitely been around to know what's been going on. I mean, I'm pretty sure Brawl and, like, Double Bubble is still a thing. It's still the thing, right?
Yes, Brawl and Double Bubble still is rearing its head. I actually like Brawl and Double Bubble. I actually liked Goat's Comp as well, though. So my girlfriend's going to be very mad at me for that, and also anyone that's ever played Overwatch for that time period of time. I liked Goat's meta. I like Goat's Comp because it actually worked. It actually managed to fit. So it was something I was comfortable with. But obviously, what I'm not comfortable with is basically just playing Valorant. I'm really bad at it.
No,
sadly, no, I just injury and then get very annoyed for dying about it, even though it's my job. I'm the Pierre, but I'm always the one who dies first and then gets refragged. So thankfully there's a refrag, but man, when I die without getting a kill, I'm so tilted. I'm like slapping my table, spamming this button, you know. Like, I'm very upset, you know.
Yeah, it's a very love-hate relationship with me for Valorant because I'm trying to learn more and more about it, and because I want to get better at casting it, you know, and, like, I feel like a really good way of doing that is just playing the game and having it speak to yourself kind of instead of just watching a bunch of YouTube videos. I still do that, though. So I played a bunch. I get out fragged because my mechanical aim and mostly crosshair placement is a lot different from Siege crosshair placement, just kind of messes me up. So I get really mad. I definitely say some not very nice words, mostly to Danny. Only you're gonna get
that's
that
true.
Yeah,
but that's like there's always that one person.
But that's
like,
justified,
yeah. Yeah, there's always that one person in the group that you just like you immediately jump on. For me, it's always my dad. right? Whenever me and my dad play games,
And
it's
most
not
people
even
cannot
him
say
that's
that
necessarily doing that. I just josh on him because I know that we josh on each other, right? We just like
because
we have
he's
a
your
really good
dad.
friend
Yeah.
relationship. Yeah, we just immediately start going at each other's throats about something. We're just always
Yeah.
about that. But speaking about going at the throat, thankfully I can rest my throat because we're actually ready now to send to a break. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in just a few short moments.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back, everybody, to some more AVGL Summer Series action here, brought to you by Collegiate Valorant Conference. And my name's Infernosis, joined here by my good friend, fellow, the Dapper Duo, ready to come at you. We've got another great map coming up. University of Texas completely sweeping the first map. What, 13-2 over the top of Texas
Yeah.
A&M? A landslide victory, but in a margin that was not anticipated. Very interesting to see why or what exactly happened and whether or not it's repeatable here on map 2.
I honestly thought we were going to see a return of an underdog story for Texas A&M because they had a similar story up against NYU, but we didn't see that kind of uphill escalation by them. They just kept tumbling down the hill and hurting a lot of their very important parts of their bodies there. So this might be another clean sweep for Texas University, but we are going to Ascent, which was also another dominant showing by Texas A&M. So I'm still having hope. Fingers crossed. Maybe we get to broadcast some breeze for Valorant this evening, but if we just see another dominant performance by Texas University with little to no backfire by Texas A&M, then might just be another clean 2-0. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. We had barely started the broadcast when that victory already came through. We only commentated 15 rounds worth of Valorant, and honestly, they were really cutthroat.
They were cutthroat and they were brutal about absolutely everything they were putting forward. I mean, they were finding shots in situations where it didn't seem like they were going to find those shots. And it was a phenomenal performance, not just by individual players, though. Yes, Lightning McQueen, Poi. Let's think of another one.
Hey,
How
yo,
can I
Pierre,
forget
you want to come
Ao
out here?
Pierre? I was like, how can I forget Pierre? I mean, they would not lose engagements. What seemed like it could have been a 50-50 gunshot were just being turned into 90-10s, if even that. 95-5s is what it really felt like. And even when they would lose those fights, they had a teammate immediately behind them. Their teamwork, coordination, and precision was second to none, and that was just beautiful to behold. But now Ascend, one of the tried and true maps that exist here in Valorant today, one of the newer ones, and obviously one of the favored ones. It's such a fan favorite, such a team favorite. I almost never go a single Valorant cast without seeing it, even if it's just a best of one. Teams just pick it because it's that good. I'm hoping to see a little bit of a different operator or agent lineup here today. Texas A&M have opted to put aggro on the Rays this time around and still bring an Astra, and they're also bringing a Killjoy instead of a Cypher. So very interesting to see the Reyna back on Pierre, Mr. Catfish still on that Killjoy as well, and we're seeing an Omen from Kimchi once again. Hopefully we'll get to see from the shadows, which we saw literally none of last night, bar one.
And honestly, I don't recall if we actually saw any from the shadows by Kimchi either. Was it necessary to use that ultimate? Not so much. And apparently we got confirmation it was used once. Okay, I must have just not thought about it. But again, it wasn't really necessary to use it on that last map. It was just kind of a clean sweep for the most part. That's probably why I didn't think about it all that much. But thank you, Caroline, for reminding me on that. But anyways, the lineup remaining mostly similar for University of Texas. And like you mentioned, we're actually seeing arrays, which I'm a huge fan of, especially her ultimate ability of that showstopper, because it is a giant, just terrifying ultimate. It can force back your opponents pretty religiously. It's a very scary ult to go up against because it can just mop people and basically stomp them out of the picture entirely. Hence why Raze can still be used quite effectively. Her boom bots can gather some intel and also really force the hands of your opponent. She is just a very controlling agent, to say the least.
Yeah, and I want to point this out. University of Texas's entire playstyle last map. I'm gonna go ahead and bring a reference that not many gamers would know, but welcome Texans to the SEC. Maybe that's an SEC-esque style performance. I'm from the South, so of course I'm going to talk about the Southeastern Conference when it comes to it. But Texans, University of Texas specifically, now in the SEC, maybe they're just trying to show off, right? I know that doesn't really have a big thing inside of esports, but I think they're just trying to show off at this point. Hey, we've got the football, we've got the money, we've got the esports as well, and that's exactly what we're seeing. They look phenomenal. They look great, and I'm really hoping Map 2 turns out exactly like Map 1, even though I do also want to see Breeze, and I want to see Texas A&M play, but it's just so much fun seeing this UT roster completely sweep and just play out of their minds.
I definitely have to agree. I'm also hoping that we just see some spectacular plays once more, just in general, because last map was definitely still a lot of fun watching those 1vx clutches here, but Lightning McQueen starts things off with the first entry. Again, University of Texas having a very dominant presence here. Kimji underneath in the pocket of B picks up one, and oh my god, Rage has no clue! He's still sitting there! It's a flawless round to start things off for the University of Texas, as Texas A&M just kind of ran into them and honestly did not have a game plan to try to actually get that rush into the objective room.
Not only did they not really have the game plan to step up into the objective room, there really was no strong performance from them. Usually you step up into an objective and you can find 1 or 2 picks just off of sheer will, right? To step up and find those kills. We didn't even see that come to fruition. Instead, we saw Texas A&M fall, not correctly clearing angles. There was no talking between their teams. When one player is felled by Kimchi sitting inside that corner pocket below Marketplace, another teammate has to be there to say, hey, player down below, turn around, and that didn't happen. Aggro just steps out, completely ignores it, and Kimchi stares at the back of the head, says, do I knife, do I shoot, and just goes for the shot. But in all honesty, could have just sat there for another 20 minutes.
I wholeheartedly agree, but at least on this second round, Texas A&M do start with the entry. Gets traded, though, by Catfish as he downs Aggro. Now in that 4-on-4, and Catfish responds with another. The rest of his team cleaning house, leaving it all in the hands of Jorks, trying to find a 4K, but only going to get one as Lightning McQueen is there to wrap it up on to round number 2, securing that second win for their team. And I feel like a lot of the mistakes that we saw by Texas A&M last night, Scott, are just being over-exemplified up against just the better team of the University of Texas. They, at some moments, seemed very uncoordinated. I feel like their ultimate economy really did prove that point really well. I mean, obviously, we have not seen them use any ultimates yet. Way too early in the round for that to happen for the most part, but their just inability to over-accomplish up against University of Texas is definitely very well shown so far in map number 1 and already in map number 2, as these first 2 wins have been a complete breeze for the University of Texas.
A complete breeze, and it's not even the right map, right? This is Ascent.
I know,
so
right?
It's a bit of interesting to see what's going on, but obviously this round 3 underway. Texas A&M are actually able to buy rifles, but they're still very wary about where each player may lie. The University of Texans has done a great job of keeping themselves in positions to maybe make it more difficult for this Texas A&M squad to actually push up and find these picks. And I think the biggest reason why we're seeing wins like that, where we saw Lightning McQueen step up and find that last kill into Jorks, is because Jorks had terrible crosshair placement for the peak they were going for. Instead of having their crosshair where their sight is going to be, they put their crosshair where their sight wanted to be. Look how Pierre was looking in the only possible spot for it to go forward. Meanwhile, Dill's clearing an area that has already been cleared by his line of sight. Incorrect at that point in time. Poi finds one as well. Pierre comes from behind, but Poi finds the kill instead. McQueen also steals it away from Pierre as Tio is downed and out. But thankfully, Poi take it out, so maybe Pierre can find the pick. There it is as he refrags back Jorks in a 3-0 victory starting off for this UT squad.
It isn't just Texas A&U's lack of proper rotations, because the rotations have been decent. It's just the fact that University of Texas is actually anticipating it, and they're situating themselves to actually deny it. They had someone up near the glass area looking into tree. They had a player near that back wine/A main area. They had a guy right beside the default plant position. Everyone was watching on a cross peak, waiting for Texas A&M just to walk into the booby trap. They sprung it, and they end up losing out on that 3rd round. Texas A&M still having nothing but a fat goose egg on their round count, and the University of Texas top-notch still for the time being.
Top-notch and completely unparalleled right now. This University of Texas roster is just outplaying them on every front. Typically, you see one player, your Killjoy or Cypher, defending the B side alone using their extra utility. They're not doing that. They're triple stacking a B defense. Yes, one's in Marketplace and one is by Pizza, but that's still 3 players ready to defend B site. A nice Nano Swarm does go off. Mr. Catfish getting a ton of damage off on top of it and finding Dill on Catwalk. Finds Aggro as they step up from ramp. 2 players on Catwalk side. They can make the rotation around, but Catfish has garnered that safety net they need. A spray to the wall may come to fruition. Ramp player pushes forward, but Kimchi pushes forward first, finds Jorks, and Tio is felled immediately afterwards. 4-0 for this Texan roster.
Denying the plan at just the last second too. I mean, it wasn't a requirement because it would have still been that 1 versus 5 and then only a post plant, and you can't really do much in that position with the sheriff. But wow, just an overwhelming presence by University of Texas. This is just a completely new Texas A&M because they were able to hold their own really well up against pretty much everybody, especially up against NYU last night. I'm harping on that a lot because it's still fresh in mostly everyone's mind, even the people that are currently in Twitch chat, hopefully at least, because I'm hoping they've been keeping up with the activities revolving around both Twitch channels currently. But now we're just seeing a completely different storyline here with Texas A&M not able to get a grip on the round. All these wins are just falling through their hands like sand at a beach, and honestly, University of Texas is just taking full advantage of that. But everything about their team has just been spot on. I really can't blame Texas A&M for not being able to find any type of openings to actually make a move, because University of Texas has not been able to give them that opening.
They're just not making mistakes. I think that's
No, they're
really what
not.
it's coming down to. The complete lack of mistakes for this University of Texas roster is making it nigh impossible for Texas A&M to step out. I desperately need to sneeze right now, but I think it's finally going away. The timing of that is just crazy. It always
You're
tends to
keeping it
happen at
real.
some point. But I really like what the University of Texas has brought to the table. Run it back does seem to come out here for Dill. They're trying to step up. They're managing to tag off the Killjoy turret. That's really all they managed to get for it. Now down to 65 HP and run it back out for the count. Not a single kill was gathered, but they did also drop the lockdown. But Damn is watching the rear. Poi is out for the count, but Catfish is still in, finding aggro. Pierre's turned the wrong direction, and Damn finds their second. Tio finds their first on a Catfish. Texas A&M finally in a man advantage, 2 up, and have complete control of sight.
Much better performance by Texas A&M, starting things off, initiating with that lockdown, and then also denying the flank from occurring, forcing basically a one-way direction now by University of Texas in this 2 versus 4 post-plant position. I am so impressed as to how well Texas A&M have been playing on this 5th round, and now there isn't really much here for Kimji and also the Sova player to really do in this position. There isn't much intel left. Luckily, Jorks does step up a little too far and ends up getting eradicated by Kimji, but a quick trade is there by Tio, leaving it up to Lightning McQueen. There isn't much he can do here except try to find some compensation kills, and he does not get it up against his doppelganger of Tio, who scores a 3rd kill for himself on that round.
And let's keep in mind that round was very pivotal for this Texas A&M roster. They've been buying weapons and falling apart so badly in this map so far that the University of Texas were starting to get a little bit of a steamroll going for them, going 4 up. I was very worried for the economy, the pockets of Texas A&M, but now they're feeling a little bit better. But if they lose this round, their money is going to be very poor. Only Aggro, Dame, and Jorks will have enough to full buy. Not even Dill this round had enough to full buy armor, and it's a very poor situation for them, both as a joke saying poor and also just as a generalized situational viewpoint. But the University of Texas has so much flush money that Poi is able to buy an operator, and Mr. Catfish with a sheriff through the wall bangs Jorks. I did not see that coming. What a phenomenal lockdown of this B main push.
Just again, that operator being too potent to deal with, and the Sheriff wallbang, masterful plays, and now Poise got a long angle looking into the attacker spawn, currently just waiting incredibly patiently, and one more kill, he'll get his Blade Storm, which he'll probably use next round. I don't think it's very necessary in this 4-on-3, especially when you have that operator in your back pocket. Owl Drone coming out to gather information, and that's perfect coalition with the one-shot ability, but here comes Hunter's Fury. He wants to kill for himself instead, picks up one shot and lands it, but doesn't get another one. But Poi is there to wrap up the kill onto Dill, and Catfish swinging around the corner, gets aggro, leaving it all up to Damn, I believe it to be, in this 1-on-4 with not having anything to their name except a Phantom. And not much time left either. Again, not having Spike, it's kind of a lost cause at this point, but I'm so glad I got to see Hunter's Fury mixed with actual intel gathering like an owl drone. I haven't seen that so long. I honestly,
Yeah,
I do not know why I have not seen it, but it really it brings a sigh of relief as someone who plays Sova quite religiously, because his ultimate works so much better when you have that intel.
Yeah, and the great part that we saw right there was the beautiful dodging by Aggro as they managed to hop and skip their way out of the reign of that Hunter's Fury. The second one almost did tag
Yeah,
and kill, but their phenomenal B hopping, their skipping was just a little bit too
great
much
evasion.
for Lightning McQueen to kind of take that shot again. So a phenomenal escape, great culpability, but now Texas A&M are very poor on the economy. I spoke about this. They're going to be able to full buy mostly one player. Dill will have a Spectre on 0 cash, same as Aggro, and Tam and Jorks are not far behind. They're looking very, very rough. It's a make it or break it round for them. Otherwise, University of Texas will take this one up 6-1, probably 7-1 or 8-1 by the time their economy manages to recover.
I am shocked to see Poi in such a aggressive stance, but luckily being on that high mobility agent of Jet, he can just run away quite quickly. And we're going to see the patented strategy by Texas A&M of using that Cosmic Divide to get the plant down in a really difficult spot to actually try to recover from once that Cosmic Divide is down. But luckily a lockdown is here. That could allow for a recovery to come in through by the University of Texas. Aggro just all the way in the back of A main now, fully escaping here to relieve himself from that area with the Killjoy ultimate, not detaining anybody, but the defuse is going down. Everybody running away allows for University of Texas to pick it up. Frags coming out left and right, but already it's a guaranteed win. You can't do much at that point except save some rifles, but luckily that will be the case for Texas A&M. But a perfect lockdown ability, needless to say, Scott.
A perfect lockdown ability. And unfortunately, that's the second time we've seen that patented Texas A&M Cosmic Divide spike placements go against them. We saw it last night with NYU. Texas A&M pulled it off twice, and then their next 2 attempts at doing so, NYU turned it around and said, "Yeah, not happening. We'll just defuse, right? We'll just shove all our bodies in your face. Anyone that's not defusing at this point, we'll shove them at you, and now you're forced to fight that." Poi from Poppy finds 2 in mid. One more by Link. Could be another placement. It'll be turret that's dropped. They were waiting. Damn steps forward, but a nice dash away. Poi is also going to drop a couple of these smokes off, making it impossible for the rush to come forward, and Pierre is watching the flank. Damn is there, and Pierre is tapping them. Just easy pickings now for University of Texas, as the last 2 players for Texas A&M have no clue what to do. Pierre, one more on top before being felled by Jorks. And it's just Jorks left standing in a 1v4. John, nigh insurmountable odds, but Jorks, we could see something spicy. Not happening.
Nope.
Mr. Catfish there. Killjoy and Killjoy Violets.
Unlucky to see, because I know Jorks is very capable of winning those 1 versus 4. Technically a 1v5 because he's the only one that found the kill on that round to make it a 1 versus 4. But anyways, moving on back to the beginning of that round, that is exactly why you normally have a duelist such as Jet with that operator, because you can dash away, get out of trouble's way after you've already done so much damage with that operator. And Poi, he basically proved that quite perfectly, and also having those smokes on Jet can also cover your backside too to escape even better. But oh, look at this, an Odin in the hands of Lightning McQueen. I honestly think that Sova is one of the best agents to have an Odin by his side, because it's so easy to wallbang having that information here. But so far, not going to be able to use it yet. An attacker ultimate from the Killjoy is going to be going through. He tries to blind fire through the smokes, that Sova player, but so far he gets whipped around by Jorks with that Bulldog, and now the site is basically for the taking, and we're going to see a post-plant situation soon, Scott.
Yeah, post-plant situation. Texas A&M's Jorks will actually get the spike down. Corner pocket, however, not in a usual default placement. And Tio from the back of Boathouse finds Catfish with the Hunter's Fury, and Dill finds Pierre with the Vandal. A nice shot attempt there by Poi as they attempt to flick, but the Blade Storm is ready. Damn, though, finds him from behind, and Dill cleans up Kimchi. Finally, Texas A&M will find an attacking route, and this one extremely successful. 4 players left standing at the end of that one. University of Texas, a little bit weak in that round. They didn't really know how to digest what happened, and I think a lot of that's because all of the ultimates that were expunged and used by Texas A&M, they're just not sure how to contend against that. Better utility usage leads you to round wins. I think maybe Texas A&M may just be able to catch on and be able to adapt as the round progresses.
So for once in my life, Scott, I'm actually taking notes throughout the round on Valorant. Shocking, I know, right? That I'm actually improving as a
Hey, it's
commentator.
strange.
I've noticed that the only 2 rounds that have been won by Texas A&M were off the fact that they were able to lock down Rush B and either get somebody detained or just having that map control from the usage of that lockdown. So this is looking to be a possible another very worrisome round for them. But unlike last time, they're not going to open things up with the lockdown. Instead, they're going to try to utilize that showstopper. But so far, aggro is being denied by the Molotov and also nade ability from Killjoy as well. But finally, they get control of that objective room. But unlike last time, the lockdown is not going to hinder the University of Texas from actually retaking this site quite seamlessly. You also have that Empress ultimate ability, but he was not able to pop it. Aggro shuts him down before getting refragged by Lightning McQueen, and now we're in another post-plant position here. And in the background, you can hear that from the shadows.
Oh, finally seeing from the shadows makes me feel nice, but damn makes Kimchi feel weak. Lightning McQueen finds Dylan a refrag, but damn is still there to punish them, takes out Catfish, but McQueen is there on the refrag, 3 to their name. Poi and McQueen, last 2 standing for this UT side. They've got to deal with the last 2 players of Texas A&M inside Boathouse. Reload Poi, and a bad timing. Tio is there, and he cannot find the shot. McQueen misses, and Texas A&M will find yet another round victory off of a B rush. John, it seems to be their only successful site. If I'm UT at this time, just stack B because they're not winning anywhere else.
At least have 3 players there, maybe one near boat or catwalk, then one up near market,
Well,
or the
we've
pocket
seen
of
them,
market,
John.
and then CT.
We've seen them do 1 market, 1 pizza, and then 1 in Boathouse, and that worked for them.
Yeah.
The issue is they started to do a weird section where they want to get aggressive with Poi and get an early operator shot, and that's where they're falling.
Yeah, I would have to wholeheartedly agree, honestly. You made a really good point there. Just having more presence in towards B, because that's been a really good site for Texas A and M. That's the only site they've won on, and at least that time around, it wasn't off the back of a lockdown. It was a little bit more of a showstopper and also just winning those pivotal gunfights. But now, not really having any ultimates to utilize to start off that aggressive push, it's going to be a much more slow and steady push coming out through by Texas A and M, and I think they're actually going on a rotation here. We have the Rays currently watching in case someone pushes up in towards Fish, but other than that, we're seeing an A-sided push coming in through by Texas A&M, and honestly, it's right for the taking because there's only 1 player of Catfish actually here to stall that push.
And this is exactly the position where you want your Killjoy to be. But in all honesty, you don't want them to be alone. They need 1 more supporting player. They've got turned in corner, not up on triple box, instead on the ground, an interesting position. They've got 2 nanoswarms and their alarm bot sitting inside of tree, but there's no one actually on site to defend and contend. Box taken out, turrets removed now as Dill rushes site. Mr. Catfish has to be wary, is taking a step back, and is going to wait for the team before making a decision to step forward. Maybe a wall bang down into hell could be something that comes forward. I think Mr. Catfish is maybe thinking about it. Does see the head, but Dill has the better shot and removes Mr. Catfish. A bad situation to peek that wall bang. Now available. Dill's taken out by Lightning McQueen. This looks to be an even trade-off right now, but Texas A&M in a post-plant scenario, they have the advantage.
And now they've got that man advantage regained here. Hunter's Fury comes in through, tags 1, I believe to be, and wraps it up onto the doppelganger of Tio. Poi follows suit with the classic, but Dam and Jork respond effectively with Phantoms in their hands, all up to Lightning McQueen. 1 versus 2 post plant, not much time here, and he has no intel. Here's the sound cue up in towards hell, but really cannot decide what he should do. He's just stuck on top of the middle part in the objective room, and that allows for Dam to finish him off. The 4th round win for Texas A&M, and now we're on the last round before we go into that Covenant second half, Scott. And honestly, I'm a lot with Texas A&M. They are overall doing a lot better, but University of Texas, they are still a little bit more dominant, to say the least. But now their economy is just, it's kind of sporadic, a little all over the place, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely leaves more to be desired. But let's think about it like this: Texas A&M, I don't want to say sucked, but they were pretty bad on the defense on this map just yesterday, right? And they won off of a phenomenal 9-round comeback on the attack.
Yeah.
And they've been denied of that. They're not even going to be able to get close to 9 rounds on this attack. In Texas, University of Texas is just doing a better job of outplaying them. And we know how good University of Texas is on the attack. That's where Pierre, that's where Poi shines. But Poi shines now with a completely blind operator shot through the wall as well, might I add, into Dill. Now the Astral Divide, the Cosmic Divide does go down, and Poi and the rest of his squad are very curious about what they need to do next. One player on ramp, they're going to go ahead and do a boost back and tag off a little bit of damage in the process. Very wary about a wall bang. It could come through, but a 4v5 in a post-plant scenario.
Oh, they're not watching for aggro. He gets one. Damn, and Jorks correspond as well, but luckily Kimji stops the reign of terror for Texas A&M. Only 3 players left, 2 of them up and towards Bo, and Kimchi and Lightning McQueen have a great cross peek, but they gotta worry about the flank. They're aware of this, but time is not on their side. Damn gets one. Lightning McQueen now in that one-on-one, and he connects the shots. That's huge. Plenty of time left, I believe, to be Lightning McQueen, literally 2 HP and a dream. But he gets it nonetheless. 8-4 split. Ka-chow! Oh, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Ka-chow,
He said it in the chat too. He said it in the chat.
And then you've got oh my god, what was the green car's name? What was his name? I can't recall. Gertruga. You're going down, McQueen.
Oh my goodness. Classic. Have you seen the new
times.
Cars movie? The newest
Chick
one?
Hicks. Thank you, Goofy. It's Chick Hicks. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. He's probably dying. He's probably dying laughing up. What?
Did you watch the newest car movie?
No, the one
it's
where
actually good. It's actually good.
I bet
There's all a bunch
is.
of newer cars, and Lightning McQueen has to he's getting old, so he has to he's not winning races like he used to.
Chief moment,
right? Chief moment, yeah. Except he actually comes out victorious in the end, which Chief never has. So, unfortunate for. I guess fortunate for everyone. Thankfully, Chief never comes out on top. But unfortunately now for Texas A&M, they're going to have to play an uphill battle. Down by 4, and in the 8-4 scenario, Puppy is going to get shock darted out, but nothing really comes of it because the University of Texas was using it as a bait and switch to rush through Market and Pizza and take full control of B's site. Only 2 players defending. They're going to have to be worried about the backwards play. Lightning McQueen baits out aggro to use the utility, and it works, but Dill's there in a refrag. Finds Poi through the debilitating Omen ability as well. Now gets rushed by Kimchi and wins that one as well. 3K, gonna be 4, no denied, but damn still from behind finds 2 in a shocking victory for Texas A&M.
As I like to call it, the buddy ace by Dill, and damn, hot damn, I gotta say, that was some clean shots by Dill. Even through the paranoia as well, might I add, just holding down M1 and just using an educated guess, that situational awareness really did bode well for him. And because of his dominating round with that 3K, he actually has enough money to buy a Phantom, which could honestly just smoke the opposition of the University of Texas currently, because their best weaponry here is a Sheriff in the hands of Poi, and if he's not clicking on those heads, then Dill might just end up doing that instead.
I think there's a massive, massive deficit right now for University of Texas's mentality. Obviously, losing the first round of the half means Texas A&M probably going to take 2, but time will have to tell. I think we literally saw last game where University of Texas lost one of them and still managed to come back and find the victory just off of a weird flank. Aggro does find the first pick though, but Kimchi's quick to refrag. Damn trapped on site, does find Mr. Catfish refragged back by Lightning McQueen. They're staying even, and they will get control of site and be able to pick up those SMGs and have some weapons to contend with. McQueen on the head box situation. Curveball does go out. Poi extremely low with some assistance from Lightning McQueen, but loses it, and Tio finds a shock dart. Jorks finds the kill, and a massively successful cleanup for Texas A&M.
You know, fun fact, with the curveball, you can actually throw it in a certain way where it doesn't fully go out into the wall. It just barely does. So you can rush directly into it, only be half blinded, and then pick somebody almost instantly. It's really tricky to actually pull off properly, but it is a cool little tip. I'd recommend looking it up on YouTube. You'll probably find some really helpful videos. I have a little soft spot for Phoenix, so I figured I might as well throw that out. Obviously, we didn't see him do that with the curveball, but it wasn't necessary. It's more or less a fancier play and just more of a mind game situation. And when you already have the better weaponry, you don't need to be playing mind games. So great conservative play by Texas A&M, and a great recovery, just a better response in that post-plant situation. But now they've got to go up against full rifles as well, so it might be a little bit tricky here, but luckily it's sort of with that entry, it gets refragged by AO Pierre, who's still trying to come out and towards Fountain to make things a better position for them.
They need to find not just a better position, but they just need to get into a better mindset, right? They need to be able to actually win
Mhm.
these engagements and not feel like they're taking the butt end of the joke or the butt end of the situation. That's been exactly what's happening. Yes, they were getting refrags the last round. They looked better, but they were in poor positions. And that's not what you need. They just weren't prepped for the rest of that round after the plant. They got the plant money, and that's good for them, but ultimately it's not enough. And I think the University of Texas is going to have a bit of a difficulty in regards to attacking because Texas A&M look really strong for a lot of situations. Vortex goes through the gravity well, plopped down and expunged, I might say, and Dam has used that utility, barely misses Poi as they step back into that smoke, but it's not enough to be able to get that shot off, and a plant now, and a post-plant 4v4.
We could see a run it back as well by Dill. That could be a great way to open up some space or at least find a kill with basically no actual denial here. But AO Pierre up above near the glass window gets one and now forces half the players on the side of Texas A&M to look a completely different direction here. And he's still wreaking havoc. A third to their name, looking for a possible fourth with that Vandal in hand. Dill and Dam respond simultaneously, but Pierre up above gets a fourth, looking for that 5K. Dam could be blinded here. He isn't as he's right in front of it. Denies the ace clutch, but there's no time left. They just have to play keep away. It won't be an ace clutch, but it'll still be a win nonetheless for University of Texas. Basically single-handedly won by Pierre, but still a great round nonetheless.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and point this out, but I think the biggest factor is it wasn't an ace clutch, but it was a clutch nonetheless. And that's exactly what this University of Texas roster needed. They were getting the short end of the stick, and that stick was extremely short. I mean, that's a twig at that point. It was ready to snap at a moment's notice. And now University of Texas can get a little bit easier, can go say, hey, we won a round, we can work towards something else. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Texas A&M, they're the more, I guess, recently versed team. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. He's trying to shoot the utility. I guess we concede and he can't, but he misses every shot, unfortunately. Oh, they finally get it. There we go. It does finally go down. Very interesting position. But Texas A&M, they just played this map yesterday. They've played this extremely recently. This may be where they have the advantage.
I mean, they're doing a lot better at the beginning. We finally saw a win by the University of Texas on their attacking half. Texas A&M has been giving them a run for their money, and it's only a 3-round deficit, unlike the complete stomp that we saw on map number 1. But currently, we're seeing a middle-sided push coming in through by University of Texas. They're trying to swing on in. Perfect smoke, denying the sightline by Dam, and he even gets spotted by that recon bolt. And now, having to use that gravity well just to make sure he does not get smoked in the next instance here. Plenty of intel being gathered and plenty of frags being gathered by AO Pierre. Luckily though, Tio responds and Poi gets one on towards Dam. Lightning McQueen following suit. It's mostly a sea of red in this position now, and the Hunter's Fury coming out to finish it off on a Jorks. It's just one player left of Tio trying to clutch in this 1-on-4. Makes it that 1 versus 3 though, as the plant is going down on the opposite bomb site here. Tio having to fully recover. He cannot deal with the Empress well enough as Pierre finishes it off and still gives University of Texas a round lead.
Very interesting situation now for Texas A&M. They're 3 rounds away from a loss, and they have to make the recovery. This will be their last round they can full buy. If they manage to lose this, they will have some of the lost flush funds that come through. Maybe they get another round in, but I think it may just need to be a soft buy on the next if they manage to lose this one. Because they still won't have enough. I think there's going to be too big of a margin for them, and it's going to be very difficult for them to continue forward if they don't manage to keep that money up. But it is a make it or break it situation. They may just have to continuously force constantly. A very nice dismiss comes through from Pierre as they manage to take out aggro, but unfortunately Poi has been taken out by one of the players on this Texas A&M roster. University of Texas scrape away with an even interaction, but it's not where they want to be.
They couldn't pick up that rifle either. It was a really tricky spot to get that dead player from the side of University of Texas, but Still not completely over here for Texas A&M. They're still defending really well, but no one's on B anymore. You've got that Killjoy up near Market, but that's about it. But I don't think the University of Texas is actually aware of that, so they're not going to be able to mark out the fact that there's really no coverage here. Turret spots out one player, I think it is, or at least gets recalled. Doesn't really matter, though, as we're not worrying about the turrets. We're worrying about Lightning McQueen and to see who else he can pick up here as he finds one. But got to be a couple more than just that. Some great intel being gathered here, and the site is kind of for the taking, as now that doorway locks out the position leading from Garden. Now they only have to worry about A main and possibly Heaven up until we see that doorway get blown open here now in this post plant position.
Unfortunate position right now for Texas A&M in this post plant. Dam's got the sheriff, and it may be from Texas, but I don't think it's high noon right now. I think they're the same time zone as me, so I think it's 7:30 for them. So unfortunately not going to happen. McQueen finds one. Jorks does manage to get one successful sheriff kill. No, make it a second.
Oh!
Pierre's head gone. Ripped away, unfortunately, but Jorks now out as Kimchi is there. Dam finds a tag on a catfish. Kimchi just needs to take a step back. Doesn't need to play into their arms. Play for time. One shot through smoke. It does tag his rear. Kimchi in a bad spot. They're playing do-si-do. It's not going to happen, though. What's the Miley Cyrus song? The stick it and slide, something like that. I don't know. That's what that situation looked like. They were doing everything they can to ring around the rosy and dance the Valorant dance around that box, but it just wasn't enough. University of Texas now 2 rounds away from victory.
Oh, man. And another timeout actually being called here. Not too sure what it would be for, but
rethinking.
What I was getting to, the Deadeye ultimate abilities were completely right. They were charged 100%, but not getting that 5K at the end when it mattered most. Texas A and had the precision to win out that round, but they did not have the time management. And that was definitely a big problem for them on the beginning of these matchups here and also last night. And proving to be a problem once again, as University of Texas, like you said, only need 2 more round wins in this position, but at least Texas A&M have a lot more ground that's already been covered on their side, but they are still at a 5-round deficit currently, but like I said earlier, at least that's better than a 12-round deficit, which is what they had on the last map.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Texas A&M have been playing better, and I think it is because they've played this map pretty recently, and they seem to be really comfortable with it, but University of Texas are just outplaying them. They know where to go. They know what to do, and right now, Pierre doesn't really know exactly what he needs to do. He's going to go ahead and opt to full buy, but he can't get that full armor, and it's going to put his money extremely low. But this is another one of those situations I talked about it last round. If Texas A&M lose this, they have to force. They have to. They have full buy right now, but they still have to force it because of the round differential. They have to be able to try and make that comeback, and it's going to be with an SMG buy. So I'm saying right here, if University of Texas win this round, bar an insane defensive hold by Texas A&M, it's University of Texas' game to lose.
It definitely is, especially since University of Texas, they're really just knocking up on the door of victory here. They don't have to really play over fancy or really that stylish, I suppose. They just have to play some good Valorant. They've been doing that already and definitely improved even more so now as Texas A&M are at a really losing position once more. But they definitely have a much more fighting chance, like you and I both have mentioned. But currently, we're seeing a bit of a slow push coming in through by the University of Texas. They're kind of just testing the waters currently, making sure that they are 100% sure as to how they want to approach out on this round. But currently, Texas A&M are watching over pretty much every single point of view really well. They've got a couple players looking around near Heaven, one up in towards the tree area, and they also have Dill just sitting around here up near Garden again, like I mentioned, picking up that frag on Lightning McQueen. So far, a decent start by Texas A&M, and already so much time being burned here for University of Texas. They don't have a lot of options here, and eventually they'll end up deciding on going into B, starting things off with that initiating lockdown.
Yeah, attacker Killjoy ultimate, the lockdown out as Catfish finds one on top of it, but Tio gets a refrag. Kimchi finds their own right back to Tio. Tio will not be able to try and save his team in this one. This is one of the only times we've seen UT play this slow and methodical. We have not seen them try to play this strategy yet so far in this game. Getting a plant so late is something that is so shocking to see One player still having to make the full rotation over. They're extremely slow in doing so, coming in from Descender-sided spawn. Two players wanting to drop down ramp to do so. Pierre gets two. Refract back by Dill, but Dill's now left standing in a 1v2. Both in Boathouse. Alarm bot does go off. Kimchi may be low, but there just is not time. And Dill only has curveballs to contend with this, not have the hot hands to toss. Can drop a wall, but in all honesty, I don't think it's going to be enough. Run it back is ready. Dill, expend the run it back, please. Curveball out. It doesn't matter. Catfish dodges and finds the kill. Now it's University of Texas' game to lose. They're up. Oh, wow. Both of them died to bomb. They're up at match point.
Oh, that could make things a little bit easier for Texas A&M, as we're not going to see everybody full buying, but basically 80% of University of Texas team is going to be full buying. But hey, on the bright side, everyone saved up their ultimate abilities, or at least has been able to use them now on this last round. Might as well at least throw a couple here at the win, because what have you got to lose, really? The entire matchup, obviously, but you're on match point. There really is no more requirements to recover, or at least just save for any bit longer. Just try to make sure you can deny this push overall, and Aggro and Tio do that perfectly. Luckily, though, the paranoia does allow for Kimchi to pick up one, and at that exact same moment here, we're still seeing a A-sided rush coming through, but no one has Spike, and no one can stop Jorks up until that shock dart comes in through and gets rid of Jorks. But now Lightning McQueen having to win the race here in the 1 versus 3. Can he do it, Scott?
If there's any one player or two we would expect it from the University of Texas, it's Lightning McQueen and Pierre. There's one of these players now coming in all the way flanking, but Damn is there to put a stop to Lightning McQueen. Basically to build a dam and stop them from overflowing to that 13th round differential and winning it all. Like I said, it was UT's round to lose, their game to lose. And yeah, I just got told it was the hoedown throwdown. But Texas A&M now, they have a huge advantage going into this round. Yeah, one player isn't going to have that full buy. Dill still doesn't have full armor, but UT has nothing. They have nothing. And for the next round, maybe even 2 rounds, Texas A&M can have a very dominant performance, but at the same time, it is still theirs to lose. UT has gotten lucky on a pistol round before. Who's to say it won't happen again?
Honestly, nobody, because University of Texas have really been showing up when needed most, and that Blade Storm could honestly make up for the fact they don't have really good primary weapons. But sadly, AO Pierre not able to use his Empress ability in that position will allow for Aggro to start things off with that fast and efficient entry here. But doesn't mean it's over completely here for University of Texas on this possible last round. Like I said, they still have the Blade Storm, and they still have time to figure out what bomb site they want to collapse into. And so far, it's looking like everyone's going to be working their way up in towards Market/Fish and getting themselves in towards the B bomb site. But actually, it might not be a fish-sided push. It might be heading up and towards mid. It still seems that University of Texas is quite undecisive here, but they're just walking into aggro, and Dill gets 2 up around. Massive frags by him, all up to Kimchi with the ace, and he will not clutch this one out. A flawless round for Texas AMU, and a buddy ace by Dill and the other player of, I believe it was Aggro, correct?
I think so. I may be wrong about that. Sorry, I'm like in the middle of almost sneezing again.
That's okay. I should have been the one remembering that, as I was casting most of that round. But you know,
I literally just lost it. Like I was like, my eyes were
I
watering.
lost it a second after. I'm thinking about the next round because it's so action packed.
You ever like have to sneeze so bad your eyes start to water, but it doesn't come out? It's the second time now. Second time that it hasn't come out. My eyes are watering. It is pain. I live in pain right now. University of Texas looking to rush towards this B site. Unfortunately, they expended so much utility in aggression to actually try to push that they didn't clear the actual utility used by Texas A&M that came up behind them, such as that recon dart, and it gave away their position. So now the rotation could come through, and it doesn't even need to, because Texas A&M are 4 stacking this B site. 2 players on site, 1 over by short boxes below, 1 actually in Boathouse, 1 in Market, and 1 in Pizza. The attacker Killjoy lockdown. Mr. Catfish will drop it down. They had a bit of a lackluster performance the last time we saw them in map 1, but this time they're doing so well. One of them's not going to make it out, however. Tio is just walking, but Dill saves the life of him by removing Lightning McQueen. Finally, a smoke will go down, and Dill is completely suffocated in this position. But University of Texas have kind of sloppily performed the job that should have been done so easily with the assistance of that lockdown utility.
Man advantage back in the hands of Texas A&M here, 5-on-4, and there really is no time to reposition for the University of Texas. They might try to go for a rotate, but it's going to come down to just mere seconds here, and they're going to go for it. They have Pierre still up and towards B to maybe distract their opponents, but Dam's waiting for it up near Catwalk, gets one on a Catfish. Dill follows suit. It's just a collapse on the side of the University of Texas here, now in the 2-on-5 position, and they really have no other choice here but to just sit pretty and try to save their rifles. They're basically just walking into a loaded gun, quite literally, in these last 5 seconds, and time will tick down to 000, and that will be the end of the round. The last 2 players will be saving their rifles, but that does give another successful case here for Texas A&M.
What is the University of Texas doing right now? I am genuinely confused
Trolling.
as myself. They're doing a little trolling.
I'm kidding.
Well, it feels that way.
But
it does. I mean, they're
not as blunt, but yeah,
yes,
there's actually good discussion.
Not to be as blunt about it, but it does feel like they are. And honestly, it kind of feels bad that those last 2 players lived, because now the University of Texas feels they have to force this, despite 2 players not having armor and one of them having to buy a Spectre instead of a rifle. That is just not the position you want them to be in, and that could be devastating for them. It could be the biggest deficit, but I think an A rush is exactly what they need, because once again, it's only Killjoy there. They have one Nebula down, you got turret in corner, you got Alarm Bot in doorway, you can see it right there, and also a Nebula, a Nano Swarm directly behind it, but the rush now has to come through by Texas A&M and the University of Texas to defend and attack this objective. Kimchi planting has to move away because Tio has popped a Hunter's Fury, which buys Texas A&M time to defend this site.
Oh, but now there's a second Hunter's Fury here, but none of them landing their mark. Dill, Aggro, and Pierre all getting their kills respectively, but Dill, after his run at back, picks it up on a trade. Now a 4-on-2 post plan, but there goes the Shock Dart. McQueen, a great kill here, and it's still very winnable indeed, but it's all up to him, and they're well aware that he's sitting up and towards A main. There goes the Astra Smoke, and there's no time. You've got to push to deny the plan here, and he can't do it in time. Texas A&M pick up their 10th round. Lightning McQueen, a valiant effort here, but it's not going to be enough to win the round. Slowly but surely, Texas A&M are making a recovery, but oh man, it's going to be another semi. I don't even know what to call this on the side of University of Texas. They're just buying Spectres here. They need a save again, to be honest, Scott. They don't have the kit. They need a save. This is not it. This ain't it, Chief.
Maybe they just feel like they have to. Maybe they feel like nothing is going to matter unless they're able to clutch up and win it in this way. Maybe they're just like, all right, we'll play Breeze. Breeze is a fun map, because that's genuinely what it looks like. It's such a strange performance from them. Look how much utility is dumped into Puppey, and they have yet to even go down Catwalk to push Puppey. Maybe they're scared of the player in market with the long shot angle. Maybe they're scared of the player inside Pizza. I don't know what it is, but it is such a strange situation right now. But thankfully, Texas A&M does not have the ultimates to try and defend this site. No more is a Hunter's Fury ready. No more is that lockdown available. It's just the Cosmic Divide. And in all honesty, is that enough to do it? Maybe it'll give them the ability to defuse, but that's going to be it, John. This looks to be University of Texas's round. Texas A&M have to win every gunfight to make it.
Still in that post plant position, 5-on-5, some intel being gathered here, but Tio has to win that gunfight, and he's not going to get it, but he shoots out a recon dart here. Some kills come out left and right by Kimchi and Aggro. Showstopper comes in through. Perfect coordination now. 2 versus 3. Dam gets 1 while McQueen follows suit, but the last 2 are in heaven. It's a back and forth trade fest, all up to Aggro, but he's gonna win this one. A 3K for Aggro, but does he have enough time? It'll come close. Down to the last couple of seconds. Can he make it? He's gonna get it with still 3 seconds left behind. Oh man, Texas AMU, they've recovered so many round wins in a row here. They're actually giving a fighting chance up against the University of Texas.
The loss bonus right now that UT is getting is saving them. They're going to have 1 saving grace, 1 more round with actually able to full buy. Their loss bonus even shocked us about how much they were able to gain because of that. Maybe also because they were able to pick up 4 kills in the round. But still, what a phenomenal save there by Texas A&M. I think the save entirely started by the fact Aggro was able to get enough points, enough ult charges to actually get their ultimate up. That showstopper saved the day. Otherwise, you would have 2 players in hell and 1 in corner pocket, and it just would not have been recoverable by Texas A&M. What a phenomenal clutch right there. Time left to tell whether it's enough. And Odin in play from Lightning McQueen. The spray and pray strategy has a shock dart, will jump and toss it, not able to get over the boxes, however, and a bit of a waste, but Hunter's Fury just 1 kill away.
Green box moment indeed here. And like you mentioned, Lightning McQueen, that could be a massive ultimate there. And the Own is a really potent weapon as well after you can wallbang through so many objects here, especially on this A or even B bomb site here. But so much time being stalled for those pop shots trying to land onto Dill's dome, but it's not connecting just yet. It's just current blind fires, no intel until he gets that recon bolt back in his pocket. Finally, that will happen, but not going to shoot it out just yet. He's waiting for it though, and finally it lands. Great intel being gathered, but he cannot use it alongside by that Own until he just rushes the bomb site. But that was right before Dill found one, but he luckily gets traded by that Olden willing Sova. And here comes the Hunter's Fury trying to find some success, but it's not connecting. He doesn't have intel to back it up. It's just educated guesses, but the guesses are not correct. But now he can sit in this power position holding down M1. It tags Dam slightly, but now he's gone past the tidal wave. He's looking for more here in this position, but time is still ticking. Aggro's going for it. Do they not hear the defuse going down? They have no idea. Aggro's going to stick it, and he gets the clutch. Aggro back-to-back wins for his team. We're going to overtime, Scott.
Overtime.
What the just happened? Oh my god! John, I'm genuinely shocked. I was muted for a second there. You didn't get to hear my actual literal screaming because I actually didn't manage to get that sneeze out. But what the heck did we just watch? By all accounts, Aggro, that was a pros. I just want to rave about how smart that strategy was. 2 players heading to behind where the default plant is. One of them starts the plant. They knew it was going on. They just thought it was a bait, and pros don't fake. Pros don't fake, and that's exactly what we saw because they stepped around the corner and he got killed. And so, in the minds of UT, they're saying we killed the guy that tagged Diffuser. No, the other guy who tagged Diffuser's still on the dang thing and taking control of it. A 6-round comeback for Texas A&M, and now we're heading into overtime. This is the make it or break it moment for both teams. Can UT finish this off here in map 2, or can Texas A&M bring us into a map 3 attempt to try and win this all?
I mean, it's 50-50 in this position as everything gets reset once you go into overtime. So it could honestly go either way. It's a complete and utter coin flip. It depends on how well these teams can come up here in these positions. And slowly and surely, we're going to see Texas A&M try to get control up and towards B, slowly make their way up. A paint shell comes flying on out. I believe it forces out one player, but doesn't deal any damage, or at least enough to really make it a huge difficulty tweak here. Paranoia comes in through up and towards Market, and a rotation's actually coming in through. It's a full bait, and the University of Texas actually might have been able to read into this just slightly. We already see Sova of Tio possibly going around here. Not Tio, sorry, it's actually McQueen trying to, and Pierre is just covering through mid. He spots out the head of Aggro. Massive entry to be had, and they are just expecting this rotate to be in full force in through A main.
Not only was that a successful kill, but it was a great job for the attempt of Texas A&M to bait out a lot of University of Texas utility. It did work, but they just weren't able to find that opening pick, which puts them at a massive disadvantage. But UT has used too much utility and attempts to defending that B site. It hurts. It's not what they want to have. A nice gravity vortex does go down. Jorx is getting tagged through the floor, but AO Pierce not able to finish off the kill, and it's a bit of a dangerous situation. Wall goes through. He jumps down, lands on the face of him, but Dale finds him. Dam finds Point as well. McQueen does get one, but Kimchi's out for the count. A 2v3 as Jorx dominates off Catfish, and it's just one player left standing. McQueen, can he ka-chow his way to a victory? He gets one from hell, needs to catch the 2 inside lobby, cannot get it done. The Sova on Sova violence is too much, and Texas A&M take round 1 of the overtime.
Switching sides.
McQueen again in a clutchable position, just not having enough backup in that 1 versus 2, but it definitely came close. But now, after all of that recovery round wins for Texas A&M, they are actually in the lead up against the University of Texas. Now they are looking down that gun barrel of match point, and that is a position you do not want to have yourself in.
Man, John, this is completely it's insane. I really don't know what to say. There's just so much wildness going on. McQueen 2 away from picking up the ultimate. Just needs to get 2 frags and 2 assistants of utility. But University of Texas have just... They looked awful the last 8-9 rounds, right? Even when they were winning, they lost it. And that is the biggest mentality deficit you could possibly have. And they have to be so down atrocious that it's just not something that they can just overcome with pure sheer will. I don't know if this side can do it. They looked so good, but now they're falling apart at the seams, and I just don't know how to handle it.
I don't really know if the University of Texas can handle it either. Nonetheless, though, they'll still try to work their way up in towards A, but the player with Diffuser is actually still waiting around up in towards mid. He'll end up rotating here, finally, up in towards the doorway area, trying to get that spike down, but everyone's just situated up in near heaven, essentially. You got some players near garden or near that glass window area, but Pierre strikes first once again, but will that frag actually matter? For the most part, no, because Aggro gets that trade, and only now is Kimchi attempting that plant, and here comes the intel gathering, featuring that owl drone, spots out one of Catfish in the background here, but currently, you don't have to worry about just him in A main. Everyone else is currently guarding the position here up and towards the bomb site. Great stun by the Phoenix player, but it's not going to be enough to get a frag there. Poi shuts him down. Now in the 3-on-3 post-plant position, University of Texas just need to play keep away, but currently the push coming in through. Poi from behind gets one, but luckily Aggro wraps it up. Here comes the showstopper, but it misses its mark. That's huge! And Kimchi wins the 1v1 against Damn! Finally, the University of Texas removes the hot streak from Texas A&M, but now we're back in an even round count, and we're going to need to see 2
more. Unfortunately, my co-caster, his internet has seemingly died. I don't know if he's good now again. But yeah, we're going to have to see 2 rounds complete. I think that was the point he was attempting to make there. You have to see in this overtime, it goes and it goes and it goes, and it will never stop. Nothing stops. They need to be able to find success in more ways than just one on attack and defense back to back, and it has to be that back to back, which means UT, since they lost that first round, need to do 3 in a row to actually win this. And that's something that seems so easy for them if you're talking about UT from map 1 or UT from the beginning of this map, but it's just not. It's not. Texas A&M have walked away. Observer, if you please, would hold up your tab menu of the scoreboard for just a moment. The insane comeback that Texas A&M has done. They did it on map 1 yesterday, and they're doing it here again. 6 already, and it's still going. They won a 7th in that first overtime. John, I hear you're back. What the heck is going on?
How long was I out for? Like,
maybe 2 minutes. Maybe, if even.
Oh, that's unlucky. At least hopefully
you got the end of the round. You got to the end of the round.
Okay, that's fine. They missed some minor monologuing. I've done enough of that already. That's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is the fact that we've got to have 2 more consecutive round wins in a row for either side to actually get that victory, because this is infinite overtime. Something that I'm glad is not a main feature in Rainbow Six because of their 80 billion long minute rounds. Luckily, Valorant does not follow underneath that exact same pathway, but the pathway being chosen by Texas A&M is currently a complete B rush. So far, not working out entirely though. They're being forced back just a little bit, and they're going to actually follow through it, I believe to be. I'm not 110% sure as to how they want to dissect this round, but they've got to make up their mind pretty quickly here because they don't have a lot more time to spare. There's only about 30 seconds left here, and time is going to get very scarce in the next couple of seconds. And currently, the University of Texas, they're still holding their own quite well. Some pop shots coming through that will force them back a little bit more up in towards boats, but that's not big of a concern, though. Dill will be a big concern as he gets one on towards Catfish with the classic. Jorks follows suit now with the Vandal in hand, and the plant is being confirmed now by Jorks. 5-on-3 post plant, making make it 5-on-2 as Damn gets one on a Pierre. This is already looking to be a hopeless round for University of Texas, but luckily McQueen stops the bloodbath for just a little while, trying to make ends meet here. He'll shock dart one. He's got the recon bolt to gather intel, but they don't have a lot of time to work around with that intel, and the one spot that he was not aware of will be his maker there, forcing Kimchi now 1 versus 4, gets one on a Damn, but still a lot to be left here for him, and it's not going to matter in the end. 14-3 now for Texas A&M, but it could just be another round win for the University of Texas to bring it back to even playing grounds.
Good night. That the entire series of events that's led to this point is just intense by all accounts. The fact that University of Texas, managed to take such a massive astronomical lead, and then Texas A&M come back with a 8-round comeback in the second half. 8 alone in the second half, 6 of them uncontested, and then taking a 7th in the overtime. University of Texas needs to stop hemorrhaging, because this is a open, festering, bleeding wound. It is gangrenous in fashion. They have to be able to just patch this up, because at this rate, map 3 is going to go the exact same way, because Texas A&M has read your number, and not even Pierre can save you despite his 35, 50 kills he had in map 1. It's not going to happen. Boombot taken out from aggro as they step back away from Puppy, but Recon bolted out and took a lot of damage, dropped down to 76, even 4-on-4 at this point in time here, John. But University of Texas, they have to find a correct way to push, and they're looking to do 3 inside mid, but they have to go back and pick up the spike that's inside A main.
I'm pretty sure Soba's aware of that at this point, but that is still going to waste plenty of time. And the University of Texas, they need to make their decision now, or else it's going to be a really tough battle to win. Up and towards this B bomb site, you've got the Astra and Sova in the background, one in boat, and then one near the defender spawn lobby, trying to stop that main fish market push, now rotating near the stairwell to help out Tio in the background. It's just a really passive position, forcing the hand of the University of Texas, and when that has happened, Texas A&M have been able to market off it really successfully. They're honestly just anticipating this push, but one player looking the wrong direction that allows for Catfish to open on up. He's picking out his gun, but Tio still wins it! He gets 2, looking for a 3rd, but gets pounced upon by Poi. You can't get that lucky, Tio. Now the plant being confirmed by Lightning McQueen stops the timer from hitting 000, resetting it in the process, and forcing Aggro to retake the site by his lonesome up until Jorks can respond with him, and finally, he'll end up doing that now. Even man count, but Poi brings back the advantage. Aggro, though, a great trade onto Poi, leaving it all up to Lightning McQueen in the background. He's come to plenty of 1vx clutches here, valiant efforts by him, but this one is going to have to matter the most. He's getting pushed from behind, but he hears the sound cue drop, clutching out the round. We're going back to single rounds for overtime again, Scott. We're in the endless cycle.
Can we do polls in the chat? Is that a thing? Can we do
Maybe.
I think that would be something really interesting. How many rounds of OT do you think we're going to have? If like we can have a 3, 4, 5, 6, we should do a poll. If that's a possibility. Absolutely 100% that should be done. Because at this point, it's looking to be an intense amount. University of Texas, they should have had that round right there by a landslide, but Tio narrowly saved them for at least a moment's notice. And that's something strange to see because Tio is bottom of the leaderboard right now for Texas A&M. On the last map, completely was their top fragger by a margin, and yesterday was their top fragger by an extreme margin, and just hasn't been playing that well today and hasn't been filling that role, but their utility is still phenomenal. They're still using that. They're just not gunning as well. And I think it's just because the way that UT plays, they're very different. They like to switch things up. They have a very different strategy than most teams are used to kind of contending against. But by all accounts, University of Texas have been tossing these last few rounds. And I think a big portion of that is because the fact Pierre has not been sticking with the team when it comes to pushes. They're not staying coordinated. Even when they step up, they're maybe finding one if they're lucky and never finding that second on top.
It really just seems like he's kept his tail in between his legs. He's not as over-assertive as he was on map number 1. That's got a huge factor here, but oh man, Lightning McQueen, he's waiting for another one just in case, but it's only Astra pushing so far. But finally, it pays off for him. The patience is killer right now. Gets 2, but not a 3rd. God, I love sitting in that position unrated. It works like a charm, and Lightning McQueen proves that. Pierre gets one as well. He could easily secure a second one here, just has to play time. throws out the eyeball of doom to try to blind one out, but Tio can evade it for a little while and eradicates Pierre, but he's got to get more than just that. 1 versus 3, he's all by his lonesome currently and cannot do much here. The lack of utility, those shock bolts not doing anything, gets one on a Poi, but it will not be enough because there's a cross peek in action, and Catfish brings the University of Texas back in the lead.
What the actual heck did we just watch? Once again, Tio shocking
Gremlin
me.
plays.
Yeah, we did.
Gremlin
Pure
plays.
gremlin. Pure gremlin.
I love that.
The fact of the matter is, Tio is hitting shots that are astronomically nutty. The fact that they're tagging headshots in situations that they haven't been able to do the entire game and are just maintaining a level of dominance that is unparalleled so far. Only one I can think of that's close is how well Pierre is playing in map 1. This map has just been the fact that Lightning McQueen has been saving the team time and time again. That trigger discipline right there in that last round by Lightning McQueen. Nasty. And then on top of it, nailing both headshots back to back, disgusting. But Aggro's in Winery right now, a very dangerous position. They could catch them off guard. This could be another trigger discipline spot. Lightning McQueen caught off, and he's gone out of here. Ka-chow yourself into a new racetrack because you're not going into this one. Another loss for the McQueen himself. Maybe time to retire from the racing game. Aggro will go ahead and drop the wall and shoot it down, but Catfish finds Dam, but Dam just found Poi. Still a 3v4 for this University of Texas roster.
And they're going in for the rush on B currently. Only Tio here to deny it, and he's currently blinded. Gets one, though, in compensation, but it's not going to be enough before he meets his impending doom by Kimchi. Going for that plant now. We're in that post-plant situation. The University of Texas, though, are down on the man count. It could just take one decisive frag here to end it all here, to make it still a long haul in towards overtime. Here comes the curveball, though. Luckily, it's being blinded by the smoke now, but we're in the 1v3 all up to Kimchi. He's just being surrounded. He's like a fish up against a pool of sharks, and there goes the blast pack. Aggro styling on that fool and allowing the defuse to come down. We're still in infinite overtime, Scott, as no one can win 2 rounds in a row.
I am so sad right now. I love to see the game come back. I called it. I did say it. I love to see a team at the beginning. I wanted the University of Texas to completely sweep because it's so much fun to watch that. This is shockingly more entertaining. The ability for the comeback for Texas A&M, astronomical. Yeah. If we do go to a third map and Texas A&M takes the next 2 or whatever happens and they eventually do take the coveted 2 in a row, what the heck is going to happen on map 3? A complete landslide, utter domination for map 1. Map 2, the most neck-and-neck performance we've seen when it comes to overtime. And then map 3, it's all up in the air. What's going to happen? It's just not known. Poi narrowly dodging as they do have to drop a smoke, but still taken out by Dill. Shots have to go through. Shield now being removed. Sorry, door from Kimchi, but not enough just yet. And Jorks finds Catfish. A 3v5 once again for the University of Texas, and TAMU are going to be in a post-plant situation.
This B-bomb site now having to be recovered by University of Texas. They get a nice frag to start things off. McQueen follows suit, but cannot do more than just that singular frag as Tio gets rid of him. Now the man advantage back in the favor of Texas A&M, but this is still a very winnable position, but there's really no information here. No one knows that Dam's up in market, gets the kill onto Pierre, only having to find one more onto Kim Ji, and he's in another 1-on-3 position. Last round, it did not work out for him, and now the intel is there. Here comes the wide swing, and he's got to worry about so much. Dam just finishes him off easily in that position. 16-15 now, favoring Texas A&M, and it's so hard to believe, Scott, that we could go to a third map after all of this chaos on Ascent.
I think chaos is the absolute best way to phrase this. Think about it right now. Think about that play right there and what happened. That recon bolt goes off and pings them because he wasn't crouched behind the stairs. Even then, I don't know if it would have been enough, but the swiftness for the rest of the Texas A&M roster to fire through Boathouse, oh, my goodness, that's so quick. They didn't even need the player in market to take the shot. Just play your own direction over there, and that's exactly what happened. A spectacular performance, but unfortunately now their position has been gathered. Only one person is actually near B main, which leads them to believe that their 3-stack on A is not the incorrect decision, but you still got to have the one player in the flank. They're still holding over by mid-link. One player's coming up catwalk, but Dam is there and watching. The one time we see them go catwalk, and it's going to fail because Pierre loses the fight to Dam. Aggro finds finds Poi. Texas A&M, you might just take this now in a 5v3. They need this victory, and it's all over. Map 3 will be guaranteed, but time will have to tell. Dill rushes with a curveball, finds Kimchi, taken in a refrag by Lightning McQueen. A 2v4, John, and it's still not over. Can the University of Texas surmount this nigh insurmountable odds and make it, and finally take it 16-16?
I muttered out the words possible 17 to 15 here, and that might be the case. There goes Spike on the ground near mid, and Damn is just watching it like a hawk. Lightning McQueen, I believe he has to ace here, and he's not gonna do it. 17 to 5. We're done with overtime, but we're not done with the best of 3 series. We're going to Breeze 1-1, the last map to make it count for the series. Who's gonna take it away?
I'm going to be honest with you, John. I've never casted Breeze. I don't think you have either.
Me neither.
This is going to be an extremely interesting map. A very interesting, not just because of the fact we've never casted before, and I'm going to have to do some studying in between, but also for the fact that the player you saw pop off in map 1, Pierre, that completely decimated Texas A&M by a margin that is incomprehensible. 13-2, if I remember when it was. Pierre dropped off and got like 70 kills, it felt like, right? More kills he got in the map 1 than this one that went into overtime 35,000 times, right? And yet, here we are, Texas A&M with a huge comeback. Can we look at the timeline real fast here, Observer, if you can switch over and click on that.
An hour and 4 minutes and 8 seconds.
The first map took 28 minutes and 22 seconds, and this one took an hour and 4 minutes. Over double, but look at the insane comeback that came forth. Texas A&M just back to back to back. You can see that 19 through 24 and then through 25 rounds where they won. They only gave up 3 on that half. Oh, just a spectacular performance from them. Phenomenal job, both teams, University of Texas and Texas A&M. Just phenomenal. Appreciate being able to cast over this performance, but it's all going to come up for map 3 on Breeze. Does either team have what it takes to just overcome these insane odds?
I mean, you're going to have to stick around to find out, that's for sure, and I feel like we'll have a lot more to talk about, but we'll go on that break, give these teams some time to breathe, because after that hour-long fight to just bring it now to map number 3, I think this is now in any team's ballpark, Scott. But, like I said, you got to stick around to find out if that's true, so we'll see you all, hopefully, for map number 3 on Breeze. It all comes down to one map, Scott. Breeze, one of the newest maps here in the competitive pool, and God, I cannot wait to cast it for the first time with so much being on the line for both of these two Texas games. And I believe it was Caroline who coined this. It appears that Texas A&M must have had one hell of a pep talk to bring things back after a double deficit, a 50% loss on that round count to bring it all the way to mountain number 3. Scott, I cannot wait to get in the lobby, but who do you think it's going to be?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it. It really felt like halfway through that last map, it really felt like Texas A&M said, "You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy," and that's exactly what we saw. They were not
You're
that
absolutely
guy.
not that guy.
And Texas A&M was. They were that guy. And no matter what happened inside that Walgreens, we know what happened here inside of. Why are you taking? We know what happened here inside of Ascent, and it was definitely a close game, a very, very tight margins that went all the way into the overtime. But only one team came out on top: Texas A&M, the team that we saw come out on top ultimately end as well yesterday in the same kind of performance, that strange comeback city kind of esque gameplay. And yet we also saw them completely, I don't want to say dominate, but they really did have the huge advantage yesterday as well against NYU on Haven. And yet they went 13-2 on Haven, getting 2 rounds for them. I mean, it was really bad. There's no other way to put it. However many noises you want to make, it was really lackluster. It was not what we were expecting from them. We talked about it during the break. That was not the Texas A&M roster that we knew, that we liked to watch the day before, and we wanted to see something else from them. It was either we wanted to see them make the comeback and win, we wanted to see, University of Texas just sweep once again in a spectacular performance, because what we saw from Texas A&M today was weak, but what we saw from Texas that last map, or University of Texas that last map, they're both Texas, was also weak. So both sides have had a weak performance and a massive differential in terms of rounds and in mentality. How is this third map of Breeze going to go? Oh, a Viper.
I was gonna say Viper and a Sky might make this a very intriguing map to cast over, because Viper can basically just make an objective room a complete stronghold and deny you of actually getting a recovery on that round. And also Sky, I remember before she received a buff and a whole lot of changes too, we called her the jack of all trades, but that's true still. But normally when you say that, that means that that agent overall isn't super strong. She's just kind of okay at a bunch of things. Now she's really good at everything she can do. Her stuns, they can be used to bait people quite effectively, but they are still super strong, even though she only has 2 now instead of 3. The rest of her abilities, like her dog is super strong. Her seekers are great at gathering intel and also forcing certain players back. And I'm glad that we're seeing both that Sky and that Viper agent on both of these teams, both very similar lineups here, but shockingly, I don't think we're going to be seeing a Sova on the opposing side for the University of Texas, which is quite interesting to say the least, Scott, because he is a very good operator and almost a must pick on basically any single map in Team Comp.
I think what we're seeing right here is the fact that, take a look at who's actually playing the Vipers. It's Aggro and Lightning McQueen. And Aggro has been that duelist the entire time, whether it was Jet or whether it was the play-in race. Aggro has always been a duelist, and now you're seeing them play Viper. An interesting pick. Whether it'll pan out is it's a questionable circumstance. I think that it's a smarter choice for University of Texas putting Lightning McQueen on that, getting rid of the Sova. Yes, Sova is really nice, but the utility that a Viper brings to the table is a little bit stronger. It's the same way on Icebox.
Definitely.
I don't like to see Sovas that much on Icebox. I really don't. I love to see Vipers though. Vipers are so strong on Icebox, and I think Breeze is probably the map closest to Icebox in terms of aggression and about how these gunfights are tending to go, because it's a wide map, but the scale of gunfights is so high. So I think Viper is going to be an astronomically important agent for this, and giving it to somebody that's a little less aggressive is the smarter choice. I think John his internet may have died again. I think, is that what happened, John? You here? Yeah, that would be the case. So his internet's out once again, but it looks to be an A push to go through. His internet's cutting it out. Wait till he's back up. A Viper wall does go down, cutting off this map in half. Looks to be an A-sided push, but they've already made their way up towards Switch in hopes of actually trying to get some shots toward. But Bridge in full control right now for Texas A&M. One player down for them, though. A 4v5 as they're going to drop down from bridge and try to contend onto the actual site. A very dangerous weapon to go for. These pyramids can be really hard to get around. Jorx finds a nice headshot kill with the Ghost and the Lightning McQueen. Catfish does tag one around the left pyramid. Now getting rushed down by Dill, but there's no one really close with HP to contend against it. He finds Tio, but Damn finds Kimchi. Dill managing to find a kill despite being so low onto Catfish. A blind does go out. Dill hoping to get Poi, did not get it, and Poi will find that kill as Pierre takes out Jorx. And it's just Poi and Pierre facing in a 1v2. Damn has nothing they can do, and it's going to be a death on site. Sheriff Gaming, no chance as Poi cleans up for the 3K.
Well, thank you for covering for me, Scott. Hopefully, I don't think I said any very naughty words. I don't remember it, but honestly, I was just so focused on seeing if my internet was okay that I just
was that
I kind of blanked out mentally. Yeah, I think it was.
Because
So,
production said they could hear you.
Died, but
Oh, it's
then
dying
it
again.
came back in like 2 seconds. Yeah, and then Goofy's
It's
like,
dying again.
I really have.
Yeah, you're
It is dying again. I honestly don't know what to say.
Yeah,
I think I'm here now,
internet be
Mark?
trolling, bro. You are. You're good. You're crystal.
I might need to go. All right, well, my Discord says otherwise, but I'll take your word for it, Scott, as we're seeing coming in through up in towards pyramids. That A objective room, great shot by Aggro, but he'll be silenced by Pierre. 4 on 3, soon to be post plant now, as Catfish will confirm that spike from being put down on the ground. At the same time, though, Tio possibly on a flank here. Not the worst position for Texas A&M, but they are at that deficit, and now they have to basically just dive bomb into the objective room to try to actually get this round to be recovered. And honestly, I don't think they're going to be going for it. I think they're just trying to bait for frags here, possibly, just to try to worsen out the economy of the University of Texas, and then maybe try to go for a full buy next round. And that's going to be the case currently, because they still haven't picked up any kills. Pierre gets a great shot on towards Dills. Now on that 2 on 4, not much time left here, really. It could just come down to Tio trying to find some compensation kills, but that still won't give him that round win. Tries to find one, gets it, but that'll be it. And there goes the spike exploding in all of our faces.
Maybe not all of our faces, mostly just Jorx in that situation. So I think there is a pretty high discrepancy right now in terms of overall attacking strategy for the University of Texas. Very differing strategy. They're full rushing site. They're taking A in a very quick succession, whether it be through those mid doors if they rush up from rope and take the rope up, or whether it be if they're going in from shop. I don't really think I've seen them yet go through cave. I think they may have gone once or twice, but it's not been their go-to strategy. It's been taking up shop or the short rush and just completely sweeping site. And yes, the defenders can stay pretty on site, and you have your defending Viper to sit there and try to contend. That's aggro like we've talked about, but they're losing those engagements, and these Viper walls are making it so impossible to push forward. These screens are so difficult. We do see a Veil go down, but it's not enough as Kimchi's able to take out aggro in succession, but there's still a man down from the University of Texas. So one other kill did get dropped. Damn, getting headshot tagged. Now dipping behind cover and smoke screening off in a bad position. Tio's trying to assist, but Dill saves their life and tags out Pierre. A 4v1 now as Damn finds McQueen. Cannot dash away. Hits the wall, and Kimchi finds the kill. A 3v1. Kimchi is all against the odds.
Doesn't even have the better weaponry here, but he's just peeking around left, right, and center here. Tries to find another one, but gets slow orbed in the process, but that might actually be evaded because he's on uneven ground here. Tries to find one on his doppelganger, but has to worry about his left as well. It's a really tricky situation here. He's basically just being kept away. He's basically just locked from behind, and there goes the pixel peek by Tio. Gets the last one, and finally, Texas A&M are able to save a round for themselves, but honestly, I thought they were going to lose that full buy round in all honesty. Great recovery by them.
An absolutely phenomenal recovery. Finally, Texas A&M will take that one round. They did lose a little bit more weapons than I would have wanted them to, but I think that really just came down to University of Texas losing a firefight I don't think they deserve to. I think that initial engagement where you did see aggro peek that corner could have gone out of the way, and they also lost a kill from Dam. There was a lot of strange engagements going on, and I don't think that's the fault of UT. I think that's just Texas A&M outplaying them, and that can happen in any round. Unfortunately, Hound out hunting at this point in time, narrowly avoiding that. The Trailblazer does not find any sort of success. They still have guiding lights they can work with as well. Dill's dropping his own Trailblazer out, hunting on the prowl. Maybe looking for it, does get shot out, an escape is made, but it looks to be a B-sided push for the University of Texas. 2 players sitting over there. It could be a strange split here, John. I'm not sure how to take this.
Well, they're going into Cannon, I believe it'd be, and now wrapping around in towards B main. It's going to be a bit of a funnel here for the University of Texas, and they do not have that superior weaponry. At least most of them don't. At least Pierre does, but here come the Seekers flying in through, and another Seeker ends up coming on in through. I just keep hearing, I've got your trail.
Seekers,
What is
Seekers!
going on, Scott? I'm scared. Hold me, Scott. I don't know what's going on. All I see are kills coming out by both sides. Now in the 3-on-3, as Jorks gets a massive frag, and from behind he gets another one. That's massive, and I keep hearing the Seekers. I'm so terrifying. Stop saying it. You're horrifying me. Texas A&M. Oh, it was a glitch.
He was glitched.
A
His ult would
terrifying
not
glitch,
pop.
though.
Interesting. Interesting.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was literally just him spamming the ult because it would not pop. But he really felt like he had their trail, but it just unfortunately would not come out. Mr. Catfish getting catfished by the ultimate button. And unfortunately, that is a sad round. Even Aggro saying it was so loud. We agree! We're scared. We didn't know what to do. But I tell you what, it did not seem to stop Texas A&M's dominant reign in that round. Dill is extremely low on money, but everyone else is sitting very pretty, especially Aggro is 4K. I mean, Texas A&M are looking hot. I'm not sure exactly what the University of Texas can do to stop this besides hoping these walls do enough. Poi has the Blade Storm ready, hiding behind this wall. Gets spotted and Aggro is there. Say goodbye, Poi. And now a 5v4, 5v3 as Aggro finds yet another.
Here come the Seekers actually working, but apparently Mr. Catfish's ultimate is not working though, but Catfish is landing his shots luckily to make up for it. Might see a rehost coming through for that, I believe. That's a very big bug, but hopefully they can still win, not relying on those Seekers perhaps. They still have a decent amount of time, but their man count is cut clean in half. Great dink by Catfish, but he's not in a good enough range to actually confirm that kill. His Hound gets shot and basically just thrown out. There goes the guiding light, blinding Catfish for a little while. Still tries to find one, but cannot land the shots. Kimchi has been able to, but needs to land shots on 3 other agents here. In this 1-on-3, he's basically stuck in that corner near the A main push, and there goes another guiding light trying to spot him out, but no one's there to push entirely upon him. But like I said, Kimchi is basically trapped in this position with a Sheriff and a Dream, and nothing much you can do there. Great wallbang by Tio, and that's going to give Texas A&M their 3rd round.
A great round there, but you can't help but feel a lot of these rounds would have gone entirely different if you actually were able to get full utility usage for the University of Texas. It's strange to see a glitched player, especially one like that, where they have your trail, but really and truly, they don't even have an ultimate that they can use. They're just glitched. And while it is funny to hear that audio cue, it's just not what you want to see. It's a very unfortunate thing. Valorant is definitely created by a AAA company. It's not that this is one of their biggest esports they have. It's not that they definitely put more focus into the market than they do the actual glitching things. But, these things happen. John, I know that you and I, this plenty of times. But I think that we're about ready to go in. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and unpause here, ready to go. Hopefully the ultimate will actually work for them now. Wait. Poi is using the restroom. Never mind.
Good timing, though. I guess we have to basically 2 at the price of 1. That's not that bad of a time to do that, I suppose. But yeah, I really do think that round could have went a lot differently, because the Seeker ability in the hands of Sky are honestly great, even if they don't disorientate and basically just freeze frame somebody. If they don't actually connect, at least you have the intel to work off of to still try to find that frag. And since most of these players on both the University of Texas and Texas A&M are all really consistent with their gun skill, I think that can still give a great advantage nonetheless. And hopefully we actually see Mr. Catfish be able to utilize those Seekers properly, along with a huge set of other ults, because most of his team has actually been able to save up their ultimates for this next round push.
We can always hope that does come through. Akko steps up, does find Poi, refragged back by Catfish. Maybe the Seekers actually work. They do still have them ready. Could definitely be going up and coming, but this Viper utility, the ultimate, the pit, the Viper's pit is ready and up. Poi's ult is still glitched. They have to remake at this point. The ultimate's still not working. There is something inherently wrong. something is going to have to be done. But we're going to go ahead and try and finish this round, keep this one up and going for you. Texas A&M now 3 players as Dill does manage to find Pierre, evening it back up. This ult could have been super surmountable. Damn finds a kill with the Blade Storm, but Catfish is there with a gun. Finds 3! That's their third, but no, can't find the last as Dill takes that shot instead. It's Kimchi, last man remaining for this side of UT. Getting rushed down. Dill's pulled out the pistol. Bad timing, and Kimchi finds it instead. We've got to be able to reset this. It is a difficult reset. You got to get the economy right. You got to get a screenshot of it. Got to have the round differential. Got to have the ult charges. Everything up. It's so unbelievably difficult to manage. So it may be a couple moments for this. So we will be taking a short break so you don't have to sit through it and listen to my really excruciating, annoying voice, and then Fellow's voice, which I hopefully never have him speak. I hopefully, I talk enough. You don't have to hear him, but we're going to take a short break. We'll catch you guys real soon, hopefully with a correctly working Breeze map. Well, very somber indeed, John. I'm going to have to join you here. I'm going to have to. Unfortunately, folks, a moment of silence. Sky Ultimate ultimately led everything to be over. So, fair warning to everybody out there. The University of Texas is forfeiting the game. Player had to leave, too much time taken out because Valorant's entire reset system is convoluted. Wait. Okay, well, some weird things going on. Unfortunate happenstance with the Sky Ultimates. Big problems occurred when it came down to having that ultimate break with Valorant, server resetting. We had it all situated and done. Loading into the lobby, none of it's saved for any of their statistics, so the entire 5-10 minutes it took to do that then gets reset, and we have to do it all over again. I don't know if anyone here has ever had to reset a lobby in Valorant. It is the most convoluted process you can possibly have. So, unfortunately, took a little bit too much time. A player on the University of Texas had to leave, and then after that is a problem playing a player down. And as far as I'm aware, they did not want to play that player down. I get some confirmation here real fast from production. Incorrect. So, University of Texas will be forfeiting map 3, which ultimately leads Texas A&M to win it 2-1 all across. Texas A&M are your AVGL Summer Series victor. Them taking the victory, while yes, marred by the fact of map 3 had to be forfeited, still, congratulations to them. Map 2 was an insane comeback, an all-around amazing play. Map 1 was something to watch for if you're a University of Texas fan. At least they have that, but your ultimate victors, University, Texas A&M.
I honestly, although it had to end in a forfeit, still, quite literally, hats off to you. That was kind of the whole point of this, just to try to make things on a little bit more enjoyable, because that was a great comeback on map number 2. I just wish that it played out and everything was 50-50 on map number 3. It was a 3-3 split before we had to go into the rehost, and then it just it ended so abruptly on such a sour and somber note. It really does suck. I hope that both these teams end up butting heads once again. I think that's very likely, as those were some of the best teams for sure in this summer conference. But like you mentioned, that's the end for this season, so they'll have to return for the next season to try to prove themselves once more. But still, congratulations for Texas A&M for winning the game nonetheless, although it was done in terms of getting out that. But they're playing out the game, so we actually do not have a forfeit yet. Hold on a minute. There is a chance, but a 3v5, because Pierre also ended up leaving too. So it's going to be a rough series if we actually go through it.
Interesting. I'm not sure the intent.
I like the spirit. I like the attitude.
I like the spirit. I like the attitude. Well, I guess we're doing that. Is the lobby ready in any way whatsoever? So we're listening to production.
Yeah, we're getting full confirmation.
I'm sorry. What are you production? What did you say? All right. Well, supposedly there's talks in our ears right now that they will play it out in a 3v5, and that implies that the players currently in the game still are what? Poe and
yeah, Poi.
Kimchi has to.
Okay.
Kimchi has to go in 10 minutes, so it'll then be a 2v5.
I don't.
Pierre's back, so it'll be a 4v5 for 10 minutes until Kimchi has to go, and then it'll be another 3v5.
Yeah, my brain
I'm sorry to say it here, as a caster and as a player as well. I don't necessarily see the point. I don't necessarily.
You're just kind of beating a dead horse at that point.
Yeah,
really.
It does.
I agree.
I feel bad. I ultimately feel bad because that was such a good game. It really is such a mood hitter. It hurts to such an astronomical degree. It really pains me to come out here and say a team is having to forfeit especially in a grand final situation. It's probably, I've had to do this before. It's the most painful experience you can have as a caster. To announce something like a forfeit, even in a normal situation, let alone a grand final here for AVGL Summer Series. It's a painful situation, but I also just don't see necessarily the point for attempting. When one player has to leave anyways in 10 minutes, you're more than likely going to win most, if not all, of those rounds leading up to that point, anyways. And then it's just going to be even more of a slaughter on that dead horse there have already been beating. I don't want to see. I want to see University of Texas just take this loss in the chin. I want to see them not stain and mar their record they already had. Right, taking map 1 in such an insane fashion, and then turning map 2, kind of tossing it away a little bit, but still played really well, and then map 3 just being smacked in the other direction. I don't want to see that. I wanted to see a game like that. I don't want to scar that memory, that idea of what could have been with a performance in a 3v5 or a 4v5.
Yeah, all a bunch of what ifs. What if we saw in map number 2 just better eco on the side of Texas University? Maybe we wouldn't have even seen a map number 3, and they would have been the champions there because they had a great lead and they had time to recover with that economy. But now they are basically forcing their own hand here on this forfeit because they cannot remain to have all their players in, and they're basically in a limbo currently while they're deciding what they want to do here. I mean, obviously, if they play it out, we're kind of forced to go over that, but like you mentioned, I would rather have this just end out on a forfeit. Not because it's getting late. I've casted up until 3 in the morning by your side, Scott. That's not the problem. The problem here is that you kind of know what's going to happen. It's like reading a book or like a poem, I should say, like Romeo and Juliet. It's not really a book, but it's an epic poem. You already have been told the ending here. You know what's going to happen. It's a 5 versus 3. You're not just losing that gun, but you're also losing all that utility as well. It's just it really does not make a lot of sense in a team-based game such as Valorant just to play it out when every single round you're already on that deficit without even making a single mistake.
Yeah, it really is. It's a bit of a painful occurrence right now. If they play this out, yeah, and it's a bit of a reminder. This is not just a take a loss and it's over kind of thing. This is for $500 extra on top of it. First place you get $1,000. Second place $500. Third and fourth get $250 each, and then fifth through eighth get $125. So taking second place is $500 off. So the fact they want to reschedule map 3.
What? Oh, I'd be so down.
I actually would be down. I feel like rescheduling a map 3.
Oh,
they have 2 people moving out. What is? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
This
we gotta just put the last nail in the coffin. We gotta do it.
There's gotta be a point of which it's going too far. There's too far of a point of back and forth. Nobody even knows what's going. We don't even know. Sorry to everybody watching. We don't even know what's going on here. We're live in our ears talking about what's going on. They wanted to reschedule, but TMU has TAMU, Texas A&M, have players moving out, so they won't be able to do anything. And it's just got to be ended. We can't carry this on for this long. It can't be this constant ending thing. So, production, is that official? Are we calling it here? They're just saying go. What's happening?
There's 2 different answers here.
John, I'm so lost. Shades come back on. Shades come back on. So lost. I'm so unbelievably
my hat
lost.
comes off to you for at least going out.
Y'all just want to sit here and just talk, John.
Just look at what's going. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll eat a biscuit, and then you just hold a conversation.
Jesus Christ, why? Well,
they're
going. They're hopping in.
I'll be here.
All right. Well, damn, it looks really good actually. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a little cold.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, they are in a 5-on-5. I thought players had to leave. Maybe they're just gone players. They'll be in a 4-on-5 soon. That's confirmed here. And so far, Texas AMU are just cleaning house basically. Already a 2 versus 4. I'm still trying to get that sour taste out of my mouth, really, from all of the sad tunes we were just listening to a second ago.
One enemy remaining.
Already, first minute just about over, and it's up to Mr. Catfish here. Gets one on towards aggro, but it's definitely a very difficult situation here when you got to worry about so many different angles. Gets one on a TO, and you've got to try to get as many round wins as you can before it turns into that 4-on-5, and you're basically just always in a losing position here. Tries to go for the 4K, and he gets it! A great round win by Mr. Catfish, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing that much amount of brilliant plays coming in through after these next couple of rounds.
Yeah, time will have to tell ultimately. I mean, Texas A&M's eco now a little bit worse for wear. They're going to have to do a bunch of soft buys. You can see one single Maverick up on the board, a couple Sheriffs, and still keeping in short with their basic commandos. And then for the opposing side of University of Texas, basically a full buy. Lightning McQueen and Pierre, no armor, light armor in the process, and then Poi has to do a SMG buy with full armor. So, interesting push, looks to be a split. They're going to have two players step in through this mid-pillar section, maybe cross over through wood doors, and then try to attack this A site. It works initially as aggro is felled by Lightning McQueen, but he found a kill first. Poi does manage to take out Dill. Dam is there with a shot. He finds two!
No.
A Bucky finds so much impact, but Poi is still there to find one. A 2v2. Dam in a bad position, but picks up a rifle. Only 5 shots, but he doesn't get the headshot. Now 2. He's gonna have to reload at a point in time. No chance, because Mr. Catfish is there, but Jorks is there with the Mav. Finds that shot. The Marshal, I should correct myself. And it's a 1v1. Catfish found the 4K last round. We'll have to find a large amount of impact here as well. I think he's hunting for it. He doesn't want to win this off a plant. He's going for the kill. Catfish, can you do it? I believe he can.
He's got plenty of utility here. That guiding light as well. Still having one in their back pocket. This could be a great lead, but so far, Jorks is just running away currently. Not going to overextend themselves. Moving on in through the vents currently. Just wasting as much time as they can, as Mr. Catfish cannot go for that plant. Spike is no longer in their back pocket, forcing themselves here to try to find out that frag. And only 30 seconds to do so. A Hawk comes out, but so does the Resurrection on towards aggro. Now in that 2 versus 1. Spike being planted and is fully initiated by Mr. Catfish. Tries to go in for the Hound to try to gather some information and disorientate one, but it's not going to connect. He does get that intel though. Wraps it up on aggro. Needs to only find one more. There goes the guiding light, allowing him to reposition here and waste even more time up against Jorks. Now back in the dance off in this 1 versus 1. Both repositioning at the exact same time, instantaneously here, forcing the clock to get closer and closer to an inevitable detonation leading on towards that spike. Jorks has to push here and try to get that defuse, or at least try to kill out for Mr. Catfish. He's currently not trying to stop that diffuser. He's just gonna stick it! Mr. Catfish, what are you doing? Oh no! Oh no, that's not what's supposed to happen, man.
Well, we could have seen University of Texas against odds manage to bring a comeback and sweep, right? We could have seen them take a couple rounds and then probably ultimately fail as they then a player down or 2 players down, whatever it's going to come out to be. But ultimately, so close. Catfish is playing out of their mind right now, doing absolutely everything they can to keep their team in this. It's so cool to see how close this is going. But I think there's going to need to be some major changes for both teams in terms of how they want to attack and defend. Texas A&M have doing an okay job, but they're a little bit too aggressive, and the University of Texas just winning those engagements because of it. There's a massive deficit because of it, and Catfish gone, out, no longer alive or here in this round, and it's a 4v5.
Already a great lead for Texas A&M. They're going to double down here, but luckily Dam will not be able to find another as Lightning McQueen gets 2 onto the round. Luckily, though, we still have Tio trying to find some action. Aggro follows suit, and Lightning McQueen now having to ace in the 1 versus 2. It's going to be a tricky position for him here, but he tries to work his way into the middle part of the map, maybe rotating up in towards B, but both of the objective rooms are being guarded currently. Jorks all the way in the back of that B main push on that attacker side. I don't think that the lone player of Lightning McQueen is aware of that. This could be an easy frag, but Jorks is looking up in towards the actual defaulted plant, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's just waiting patiently, and Lightning McQueen is none. Texas A&M get their 5th round and retake the advantage.
Ka-chow, more like, instead of ka-chow. Am I right here, John? I mean, taking a massive L in that round, and now 5-4. And it's going to be a very interesting one to see how it's going to pan out. McQueen, Poi, and Kimchi have ults, but so does Tio, Dill, and Dam. And that Hunter's Fury and Bladestorm can have massive impact. And maybe Dill's Sky Ultimate will go off. Maybe that's something that may happen. They're not Mr. Catfish, so it is a definite possibility to see. But this differential right now, 5-4, is definitely something to behold. I love to see the University of Texas fighting this off, but I do not like to see Pierre taking an L this early as Dam taps their head and leads this in a 5v4.
Someone who is doing so much on map number 1 has been silenced for the most part on map number 2 and now 3. Hunter's Fury going off in the background here. Tio trying to deny the plant from coming down. Won't be able to, but Aggro and Dill are finding the refrags here. Now in a 5-on-1, all up to the lone Sage player of Kimchi, who's just inside of the objective room, cannot escape the inevitable death that Aggro delivers to him, and Tio gets that diffuser down. A flawless round for Texas A&M as they take a 2-round lead here. All of a sudden, the University of Texas just falling apart at the seams.
And they have all of their roster right now. And this may just be because attacking is a little bit more difficult on this map than, say, defense, but it's a strange thought to see. The fact of the matter is, we have barely seen any B pushes, right? It's just not something we're seeing. It's just, in University of Texas' mind, we got to get these rounds done quick. We have to. It has to be done. And I do not blame them. They know that time is running out for some of their players. They have to be swift with this. And we can see Pierre just expunging money on the ground, just bought every single weapon possible and lost their money, and running around with a knife. I'm not actually sure how to take this. Literally spent like 6K in that round. Poi finds the first pick to Aggro, but Aggro does get the kill with the Viper's Pit. Not the Pit, sorry, sorry, I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, Snakebite does get the kill. Tio gets one as well now, finishing off Mr. Catfish, and Kimchi is waiting in sight, has put up a wall. This Viper's Pit, though, is making it very difficult to do anything at this point. Slow now from the Sage utility. Tio finds one more on top to Mr. Catfish's head. A 4v2. The Viper's Pit may be here, but this 2v4 seems near insurmountable. Dill ready to go, and Owldrone expunged. They're getting shot in the process. Down finds McQueen, and this is all she wrote for the Pit. And Tio finishes that one off, biting back like a snake trapped in a corner. And it will be another round victory for Texas A&M.
Gets bagged and tagged once more. Texas A&M now 3-round wins in a row, and I think the reason for Pierre possibly not doing much that round is because he has to go soon. I honestly have no idea, to be blunt, or he was just straight up throwing that round. I hate saying that when people are like, oh, dude, he's just trolling. No, that was literally a throw of the century right there. He just, I think he's had enough. To be honest, I think his mental has been completely shocked.
This is the epitome of your mentality being down bad.
Yeah, no, he's down atrocious. And it's so weird because he was someone that was doing amazing work and damage on map 1. And now map number 3, he's bottom of the barrel, not doing anything but just dying left, right, and center here. And it's just, it's so weird to see that happen. But I think we've all been in that position beforehand, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, and when you're in that situation, everything feels like it's stacked against you, and that's one of the worst feelings you can possibly have, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Poi just rubbing hips right there. Rubbing is racing. Shockingly, was not letting McQueen, but Aggro there. Turns, finds the kill. Not a problem, literally whatsoever. He even stepped out of the Viper's Pit and asked Poi, question mark? Oh my goodness. He says he can't see. Very confused. Kimchi has to disconnect and leave. Pierre jumping around like a schoolboy gets taken out, and that's the 3K in that direction. Now just Mr. Catfish, last man standing, finds a headshot kill into Dill, but Tio is there quickly behind. This is now an insurmountable, completely against them, and it is a literal 3v5 at this point with the way that we have seen Pierre buying and spamming and tossing himself around.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why he is throwing, because I mean, 4v5s, they may be a lot more difficult to win, but it's not impossible, I would have to say. He really is making it a 3-on-5, essentially, not being able to do much for his team currently, except just run around like a chick with his head cut off, and not even give his teammates any of his money. If he's going to at least be just a human body bag, at least try to be helpful with your team. But I'm not going to harp on it too much, because honestly, I've been there before.
Another player just disconnected. Lightning McQueen just left.
Oh, so basically a 2-on-5.
It is a 3-and-5 in numbers, a 2-and-5 with the way that Pierre has been parading.
Yeah. I don't think they really have a chance anymore at this point. This is what I was talking about with basically just basically not being able to swallow your own pride here. They want to continue playing this one out, but it's basically going to be a mercy killing, as so far Texas A&M get that first frag on a Pierre. Catfish does respond with a quick shot with the Sheriff, but you're technically in that 2-on-5, or now 2-on-4, I should say, and there goes the frag on a Poi. I I don't think anyone else is really alive technically, except for Catfish, who basically has to find the 1vx clutch, and they already are well aware of his position. Yep, that's basically it. I think the last two were actually AFK currently. They in fact are, so that's already the round over before it really even began, to be honest.
And it's painful. Easy cleanup for Jorks. Get all hype in the chat. Oh, Jorks Inhuman reactions, finding the last two. And unfortunately now another pause has to go through. No, a surrender to go through.
There it is.
University of Texas just wanted to play a couple more rounds and couldn't find one. Actually, no, they did find one, but they couldn't find anything beyond that. And it could have easily been two, but Catfish could not carry his team to a victory in that situation. I'm not sure why it was started if your entire team's not there and wanting to play it. That it hurts. I love to see them continue to play. It was fun while it lasted, but the parading, the masquerading that it really was not what we wanted to see. So unfortunate, but University, Texas A&M are your victors here for the AVGL Summer Series, and a bit of a reminder for you guys, they will be getting $1,000 here for that prize pool. Second place, $500. Third and fourth, $250, and your fifth through eighth, $125. Congratulations to the victors once again. Texas A&M, you played out of your minds. An insanely good comeback in the second one. Not only did that comeback give you everything, not only to put you into the game, but it also ultimately led to your victory because you ruined the mentality of the Texas University side. And on top of the problems they naturally had that came through with time constraints and things of the sorts, it just was another kick in the gut. Very sad ending to it, but a very big congratulatory to you.
Yeah, I would. I'm still gonna tip my hat off to everyone on both teams, really. Even Pierre, I gotta admit it, to be honest.
Here, I'll grab a hat.
On map one, killed it. He did so much for his team. He may have slowed down a lot on map number 2 and 3, but honestly, it was definitely enough. Yep, go for Auburn, I guess. Maybe we'll see them play in the next
hey, they're in the
football,
SEC now. Texas University of Texas is in the SEC. Welcome.
That's awesome, yeah. But like I was saying, I really hope to see both of these teams back up for the next season, perhaps, for this collegiate Valorant conference, because both of them did such a spectacular job. Brilliant comeback by Texas A&M. I just wish we could have played out the full map number 3, because that honestly could have went either way, to be honest. If the mental was there and if the player base was there.
Yeah, I think the mentality is the biggest part. We talked about it in the mid-between, how big of a mentality deficit, how just excruciating it is to lose that second map like that, right? We talked about that. We spoke about that in the break. While we were studying Breeze, because we expected to be able to cast Breeze, we talked about just how insane that's gonna be to hurt them, and it kind of was even more than we thought. If anyone once ever
losses in a row when you're on match point, that's gotta hurt. I mean, they did it in map number 1 to their opponents, but then Texas A&M gave a taste of their own medicine. But you were saying before I cut you off, I truly want to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, there's never a better representation of why mentality is the most important part in competitive esports. This is it right here. This just goes to show everything. So that's literally all we have here as far as I'm aware. Just to make sure, we're going to talk about a little bit of a reminder for you guys before we head out. This is the AVGL Summer Series presented here at the CVC and on AVGL's main channel. And make sure to be on the lookout for information on the Collegiate Valorant Conference Fall Series 2021. Make sure to stay tuned. Plenty more games, plenty more opportunities to continue to show your worth and to actually attend and continue a reign of dominance. Maybe Texas A&M continue a reign and go forward and play in that season as well. We'll have to see, but thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Infernosis, joined here by my great friend, Fellow. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.